And now we are live on Twitch. Okay. Live on both. I must hit Alt and Enter. Stop that. I want you to be, yeah, there we go. That's what I want. Try to move this down here. And we're live. Let me run a simple little test real quick. Testing, 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 test. I'm not really sure how that happened, but okay. I booted up my own stream, and Twitch was like, nah, we're going to watch someone else's stream. Weird, but okay. I just want to make sure everything's running. Everything's running. I will probably need to charge my phone at some point. But that's okay, because I don't run this off the phone. For some reason, I was going to say off the stretch. No, that ain't it, Chief. Nope, nope, nope. Leave you there. Yes, we are live. We are going. Everything seems to be working okay for now. Where's the BGM? Up and running. Good to go. Now we wait. And now we wait. Anybody out there chilling so far? Chilling like villains out there in chat? You guys ready for another episode? I think this episode might be a little special, which is super nice. But the voting system is working amongst the DMs in the DM chat. So please do be aware. I will mention this again near the end of the stream. Right after the stream ends, I put out a 24-hour poll in the DM chat to ask them what they want the topic to be next week. Or rather what we want, because I'm also in the poll. But technically the Jukebox account will have its own vote because it is also in that chat. And therefore that means if you guys want us to look at a specific kind of homebrew the next week, whatever votes you guys put in will take the place of the All Speakings vote. Oh, the All Speaking is the gibbering mouther that is the Jukebox. What up, DM Shin?
Going on, everybody? Sorry, early late?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you're late.
I'm like, am I early late? I was playing around with the microphone and stuff like that, so my apologies.
No worries.
Do I sound terrible?
No, you sound pretty good. I went to double check to see that the Twitch stream was running, and I clicked my own channel, and it was like, I'm gonna start playing audio from some random channel, and I was like, oh no, please don't do that. And literally the moment it loaded up, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I muted because it was just some girl screaming. I was like, oh, okay, thank you for that.
You ever wanted death metal screamo Twitch channel?
That's not what I was looking for. DM Lacara is here too. Ah!
Hey.
What's going on, DM Lacar?
Not much. How are you doing, Shin?
I'm scared of what players can cook up when given just enough free time. I recently had my players. I recently tried a one shot or the adventure that I'm working on some other people on Saturday.
Ooh.
And I explained to them that they only have water in the desert as a mechanic. And one of them decided to make a druid and literally make this druid only know Goodberry, so that they can always have sustainable water. And in my head, I was just kind of like, it's actually really clever. It's a clever way to quench your thirst in the desert. I didn't think about that. So now I have to increase the heat mechanic to make them suffer just a little bit more.
Oh, man.
Wow.
It's not that I'm not proud of them for thinking it up.
That
It's
is
more
thinking
that
outside the box. Oh, that's
I'm just
good.
like, ooh, the desert heat is supposed to drive you back to the city and be kind of like your timer. Then again, though,
Yeah.
if they want to spend hours in the desert when I've created a high sun that is pretty much lethal to people, it's up to them.
Mm.
Yeah, it's their cleric is a fire genasi.
Oh,
Who
Oh,
knows?
so the cleric doesn't care.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. I love the idea of people who build a character who are like, every day I'm just going to cast this spell to do something. And like,
Hmm.
at least that this character is useful. Like the original druid in our game was like, I want animal messenger. We were like, why? So every day I can annoy Jimbo's character every morning by sending a different animal in the area to wake him up. And we were like, you're gonna waste a spell slot every morning? Just stares at us. Yes.
That I hate that kind of playing.
That's a little. It's funny for maybe like the first one or two times, like if you play it into a narrative point of like, oh, you know, Jimbo's character's not up yet. We send the bird to go talk to him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's kind of like a fun little narrative thing. But when the bird is solely there for the purpose of throwing off Grimbo, I'm like, that you could have used a spell slot a little bit better than that. Just a tiny
Hmm.
bit.
Yeah.
I love jokes and hilarity in my campaigns, but at a certain point, I'm like, hey, listen, you're not going to get the BBEG to laugh himself to death unless you have that strong a vicious mockery.
Oh.
Or Tasha's hideous laughter.
Oh, Tasha's hideous laughter is probably one of the greatest spells of all time. The
Our bard
description of
just
it
picked
makes me
that.
laugh.
Oh,
Yep.
it's so good. It's so good.
The
I can't
idea
believe
of
your bard is
locking.
writing tunes.
Oh yeah. He takes
What?
so it's my husband. He takes being a bard
Double
very
dope.
seriously. He's
Doubly dope.
actually writing entire ballads, haikus, rewriting childhood nursery rhymes and everything to tell a recap of each previous session.
So what's funny is I played in a campaign. Okami knows. One of our friends, Jordan
Hmm.
Okami, he actually did the same thing. We did a Theros campaign, and he picked the bard. He was a bard satyr, and so he
Oh.
literally spent he was writing out actual tales because he can power himself up with it, and he actually wrote out like little tales from our adventures, and I was like, that's so dope. So to hear that your husband's doing the same thing in your campaign is extra dope because I'm like, that's how you lean into the character.
Yeah.
Like, have fun.
I'm so jealous.
That is so fun. That I love it when people start like really getting into like coming up with their own things like that. I feel like, and it's also a really good mentorship for the people. Half of our campaign is newbies that have either never
Mhm.
played a TTRPG period or haven't done 5e. And I feel like it's a really good way to like let them see like how much fun you can have with it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and I think it goes to a point that we've said before that kind of like, everyone has their own way of playing at the table, but to kind of really lean into your character, whether it's weird little things your character does in the game or like, additional things outside the game and things of that
Mhm.
nature, I think it's always kind of cool to like lean into that aspect of the character because it gives the character more depth, even if you're just running like a 5e adventure book.
Yep.
It lets
Hmm.
your characters be diverse. So I like
Yep.
that.
That's oh man, Okami. I don't remember if it's one of the things that you sent me the other night or that I found while I was also searching. We were on vacation and I was trying to find like a one shot for my family to play, which lasted all 30 seconds. But so I was looking and I found this thing, and our wizard has made his like stick that he's like obsessed with squirrels. And I found a like one-shot encounter that has this very specific type of squirrel. And I'm like, I have to do this now. Like I don't
Oh
usually use
no.
I don't usually use stuff I usually like make up every step of the way myself. But I'm like, no, for this for this I will do a one shot.
Just
I
face
can't
the
wait.
wrath
like
of
it.
squirrel.
I cannot
I,
wait. I'm so excited.
you're gonna have to tell us about that on an episode. I think that's really a fair point because I want to hear about this. I need to
I
hear
am
about
sure. So we just got like okay. So last week, last tirade about my campaign before we get into like the actual stuff. But this group, so my husband always collects pets, like as many pets as he possibly can. Not familiars, not anything with any use, just pets in every campaign that we have played. And I told everybody at the beginning of this campaign, everybody gets one pet, and if you have a class that allows you to have a familiar or an animal companion, you get one of those and one pet. That's it. I'm making this clear from the beginning.
how well did
The
that go?
group, well, in the third session, they turned a person into a chicken. So it's not really a
Surely
pet
did.
because he's technically still their prisoner. But he's following the group around now. They have no idea when or if he's going to turn back into a human and haven't decided what to do with him. And one of them kidnapped a suit of
See, that's
animated armor
gonna be
and
too much
figured
fun.
out how to hack it and reprogram it. So far we're like 6 sessions in, and this group not only
Oh,
has pets, animal companions, mounts, etc., familiars,
It's good
the whole
times.
nine. One of them has a pet rock. There's also now a suit of animated armor, the luggage from Discworld, and a chicken man as part of the entourage.
see, that's the kind of entourage you need.
It's true.
You mentioned they polymorph somebody into a chicken. Kind of
Yeah.
reminds me in that same campaign that I played with under DMXO clubs, or VF eventually, as I call them. But we had found in a temple, we got attacked by a small chipmunk that was throwing like acorns. And one of our players, who was a ranger, he had a murder raccoon named Gustav. Gustav is still one of the MVPs of that game. We love that raccoon. At one point, he got flung. We were fighting in a volcano, and kobolds attacked the bridge. So we blew up the bridge, and the raccoon was still on the bridge,
Oh
and it
no.
got blown off into the lava. So our image in our head was just like at the end of
Gollum with the
Terminator
ring.
2 when the with the thumb up on like this murder raccoon going into lava. Great time. Um, but this naked little chipmunk, we're going through the dungeon, and at a random point, the chipmunk hops out his pocket, jumps up, throws 3 acorns, but in throwing 3 acorns, transforms into a naked gnome, and then transforms back into a chipmunk and lands back in our ranger's pocket. And we're like,
What?
wait, what? And so at random points, this chipmunk would transform into a gnome and then back into a chipmunk. Later on in the campaign, I was just like, hey, we're at this big temple, it's in a major city. Can I get a cleric to cast lesser restoration on him? And it
Mhm.
cures him. And so our ranger is holding him in his palm as he's casting it. And the next thing he goes is his tiny little chipmunk, and you're just holding the bare ass of an old gnome who proceeds to look at you, go, ooh, this is weird, cast a spell and disappear. And he randomly appeared throughout the rest of the campaign to help us out because we saved him.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we were just like, and like we learned that he was friends with another wizard that we were ended up working with and everything like that. And like this wizard was just kind of like, oh yeah, I had a friend, he got cursed, blah blah blah. And we were like, did he turn into a chipmunk? We're like, yeah. It's like, oh, we saved him. He goes,
Yeah, we helped
oh,
him.
and he goes, oh, then I'll be back. And he just disappears. He's like, and came back like a session or two later. He's like, oh yeah, I found him. He's doing well. He said thanks. He'll come back and help you later. And we're like, what?
See,
Where are
those are
you
the
guys
kind of
going?
rewards you want over just XP. Stares at
Yeah.
chat. I don't know if you guys are in there yet, but I'm staring at chat anyway.
I mean, XP is whatever. I don't count XP. I just hand out levels whenever I feel like it. But like,
True.
I don't know. I'm in it for the story.
I for the adventure I'm writing, I switched to gold for experience because I want them to dungeon delve a lot more and like really kind of emphasize that. But they're gonna get more magic items than gold 9 times out of 10. They're gonna get items of like random usage and like information and tips and new locations. I'd rather give you that than be like,
Yeah.
you hit level 5. Now I need
So
to figure out how
that's
to kill you easier.
at the very beginning of the campaign, they each got a boon from a goddess. That was their first magic item to like start with. And one of the wizard got the Ring of the Grammarian, which for anybody who's listening that doesn't know what it is, it's a magic item that lets you change or delete one letter in a spell title per day to change the meaning of it. So he took Featherfall and turned it into Featherall to
Clever.
turn the guy into a chicken. And then I rolled privately to see how long he's going to stay a chicken. And they're just walking around
Oh
with this
no.
chicken dude. I have so many plans for this
Waiting.
chicken dude.
It's gonna be so good. Just pops out.
I'm just imagining him like cooking up all this stuff in chicken form. Like he's secretly been talking to hens when they get to town and stuff like that. Like, hey, I'm not gonna stay this way, but when I get back, I need your help. Just recruiting a small chicken army.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Chicken arm.
I'm just imagining Link when he attacks the chickens in Legend of Zelda games and like you get swarmed by it. I'm imagining a party just hitting him once and him being like, "You activated my trap card, Cluckish Rebuke," and he just like flings his arms up and like 1,000 chickens attack you. Like that. That would be the greatest.
Cluckish Rebuke.
That's amazing.
I need to make
Technically,
that
you know
as
the
you
worst
have
part?
to make that as a druid spell. You have to.
Oh my god.
Technically, with that ring, he could.
That's true.
He could. That's
Because hellish and
also
cluckish, he just has to change the letters. Has to fix the letters bit by bit.
there's a I should let him bank, like if he goes a certain number of days, he can like bank an additional letter that he can change.
Ooh.
That's cool.
Like maybe at a certain point when he levels up, I'll let him do that. They all have items that'll level with them. Actually, Okami is based off of a Sanderson book.
Oh,
They draw on different
what'd you
like
get? Which one?
uh um Yumi and the Nightmare Painter.
Mm, 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 mm. What'd you give him? Now I need to know.
I gave him the paintbrush. So the paintbrush, like actually in the book, has no special abilities, but I made it so that Okami's character is a ranger who likes to paint his face before he goes on a hunt.
It's true, I do.
And if he paints his face with the paintbrush, it gives him a chance at a buff for whatever he's fighting. But if he paints his face with it, it makes him really like sullen and gives him disadvantage on charisma checks for like an hour after he paints his face.
And I'll put it on my fox too.
Puts it on its fox. And it will level up and give him
I'm
more
just
stuff as they
imagining.
go.
I'm just imagining you now, Okami, like getting ready for battle. It's like, oh, enemies ahead. Hold on, pulling out like this tiny paintbrush and a compact, just painting your faces. Like, all right,
No,
we're
it's
ready for
huge.
war. And everyone's
It
like,
is comically
and everyone's
large.
like, don't talk to me.
Yeah. He can get out of the charisma disadvantage if he eats a bowl of noodles.
I make the fox eat them
that's
too.
great. Wait, you make a fox eat noodles?
Yep.
You
Is
don't
that
have
legal?
to. I told you this. That doesn't help the fox, and it doesn't help the paintbrush.
But listen, what I eat, he eats. It's fine. As long as it's not chocolate or anything. I'm sure that's also not good for foxes. Or what's the other one? Grapes? I think it's grapes. I just learned it's bad for dogs.
Oh god. Yeah.
I've never thought of handing a
Yeah,
dog a grape though, so I can understand why I wouldn't have known that.
I did though watch someone give their cat a pup cup the other day that Starbucks has, which is just a cup of whipped cream. And in my head,
Oh.
I'm like, should you give a cat whipped cream? I'm like, will that not be bad for your litter box and home? 'Cause that's the only thing I'm thinking.
It'll definitely be stinky.
Oh. Okay, so what are we looking at today?
All right, so
yeah,
today I was
this has been
hoping
fun, but once it gets into cat poop, let's.
I was hoping by 8:15 our new edition would arrive. She did say she would be late, but I guess not. Maybe a little later than this. But we will have a new edition. But for right now, I'm DM Okami or Scott, whatever you want to call me, Kage. I asked some friends if they wanted to talk about homebrew, feats and backgrounds and classes and other stuff for 5e, and a bunch of my friends said yes. So here we are. And today, 2 of those other people are here with me. Soon 3, maybe 4. I don't know what DM Bacon is doing.
As long as he's okay.
I think he's okay. I think he's okay. He was answering the other chat today.
All right, good.
But who else is here with me?
Well, I guess since I spoke, hey everybody, if you've been paying attention to the voices here, you've probably heard me as one of the other 2 voices you've heard on here before. I am again DM Shin, 5e and TTRPG GM/DM and lovable player, and I'm excited to be here as one of said friends to talk about D&D.
Yeah.
I'll pass it off.
I'm DM Lacara. I am also a dabbler in the dark arts of DMing, and yeah, happy to be here.
All right. So I had said
Dabbler in the
before,
dark.
I like calling it the dark arts as well. It's great. I hope there's some old people who accidentally turn this on YouTube one day and they're like, the devil! But oh no, he's not in here. Wait, no, hold on. one second. I know my screen just went black. Sorry. 1 second. Let me just we have a friend whenever we think of the devil, you know. Just,
Oh no.
He's
Oh
here.
no.
Don't forget. He's always judging you, the hush devil.
Yes.
Hush Devil. Hush Devil, the true mascot of the world.
We need to name him.
We do. We need to name him and make him the mascot of the show.
He's already the mascot.
That's true.
He is. He really is. But he can't have like an intense name. He has to have like the most simple name. That's the thing.
It's got to either be Hushy or just Shush. It has to be one of them. Because he's got to be cute, but he's not cute. He will murder you and use your voice to murder your friends.
Can we call him Murmur?
I like Murmur.
I love it. Fred, say hello to Murmur. Before I made a noise, because I looked down at my notes, I'm trying to keep better notes of like when we switch topics and stuff so I can make the chapters on YouTube. And I saw that I left myself a task to make a Hush Devil judgment button. I'm just going to cross that out and put Murmur.
Yes.
Yes. Murmur, our lovable Hush Devil.
I think I gotta make him an account. Like, maybe I'll set him as my first Twitch emoji.
Yes.
Just the
Oh,
judging eyes of the Hush Devil. I approve this. I 100%
oh, that's
approve
good.
this. Good job, Murmur. Look at you.
So I had said at the beginning, I'm going to say it again near the end. I'll probably say it in between and stuff. But what we've been doing lately is at the end of every stream, I run a 24-hour poll in the DMs chat, and we choose what the topic is going to be for next week. But there is technically an extra person because of the jukebox account. And so if you guys, after you've seen one of the episodes or you're watching the VOD and it's right after it's happened, within that first 24-hour period, if you leave in the comments or you write during the stream, like what kind of content you want us to look at next week, I will add that in as the community vote through the Jukebox account. So you guys can also influence what we talk about next week. So last week, we decided we were going to look at backgrounds and feats. So the very first one we're going to take a peek at is the Commoner background by Ascended Bebop. And for those of you in the Twitch chat, since you can't see the links, since they're in the YouTube description, I will start throwing them in the chat so that you can follow along if you want to. Oh,
I like the start of this.
I saw in just the Unearthed Arcana post that this person has really bad spelling and grammar, and I'm just gonna I won't comment on any of that. That is not what we're here for, to be nitpicky in that regard. But it definitely upsets me.
I'm sure we'll catch, as long as they're not like completely atrocious. I think we should be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I read it and then all of a sudden my knowledge of the human English language just dissipates, then I'll be like, stop the tape, stop everything. I need to remember. But what do we got?
So Commoner, for those of you, so when you make your character, you add a background, and while the background does sort of help you help inform how you're going to roleplay the character, mechanically though, the backgrounds actually give you a bunch of stuff that you can build into your character for stuff that they've already got. So like you get some proficiencies, you usually get a language, and you get some equipment based on what your background is. So this is a very interesting one, because your background is that you're just a dude. You're just a regular dude.
Your background is you have no background. It's a
Yeah.
blank page.
You literally are a zero. You could be added to or subtracted from. I like this.
Mm-hmm. For skill proficiencies, you get athletics and then one skill of your choice, which I guess makes sense. Probably if you're going to become an adventurer, you probably weren't like a sloth before, so I can understand why they give you athletics.
Mm.
Tool proficiencies, you can choose one type of pretty much anything except vehicles. They don't have vehicles here.
I think vehicles is a weird one to kind of have proficiency in, though, because 9 times out of 10, most adventuring parties find themselves on foot or on boats that
Mm,
they're not necessarily controlling. I found, at least in my campaigns,
that's
uh,
true.
I, and I've been in campaigns in which you do acquire vessels before, but I don't think I've ever played with anyone that had a true mastery to the vehicle itself.
I have Valley of Egeria's water genasi is a pirate, so she has proficiency in uh, water vehicles, and
Mm.
uh, somebody else has proficiency in land vehicles, but I don't think it comes from their background. I think it comes from their class, maybe? Maybe their race. I think it comes from their race. I was just thinking vehicles in the sense that, like, if you're a farmer, you're pretty good with farm tools. So I was thinking you probably have like a horse and carriage, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But if you could just choose whatever artisan tools, like this is a good way. You can pick this to pretty much choose like this is a good I'm I'm a blank slate. Like I can throw in what I want.
Mm. it's almost like a variant human
Yeah, that kind of
option,
idea.
or like a variant option for a background. I get it. Yeah.
And then you get one language of your choice. I think normally you get, this should say common and one language of your choice, because with this, you could just have something other than common and not be able to speak to the rest of your team.
That could be fun.
Is that a problem?
I guess
Also
it
true.
could be really, you're right. It could be really
Imagine playing a
fun
character that can't speak.
with the right people. Otherwise, they just get mad.
You know, it would be hysterical. They're a commoner, and then they become like a great one warlock or something that
Oh,
like gives them telepathy. So it's like they can talk with the party, but only through their mind.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say they
oh, that's
became.
great.
I thought immediately you're gonna be like, oh, they became an old one warlock, so now they know deep speech, and that's all they can talk. And like the way that I roleplay deep speech is just like, and it makes you really uncomfortable when someone speaks it around you. So I was just imagining everyone else is totally normal in the group, and they're talking to like a child that they've just helped out with whatever their side quest was. Like, oh, go find my cat. And this little guy walks over with the cat in his hands. He looks at the kid and he just goes, and the kid's like, ah!
I'm almost more imagining though the commoner picking like Draconic, and he hasn't spoken the whole game, and then all of a sudden you're getting ready to fight a dragon. He's just like, "Oh hey, what's going on?" And the dragon's like, "Wait, what? How do you know what I'm saying?"
he
You're like,
suddenly
I don't
seems
know.
he suddenly seems very comfortable.
That's what I need. I need a commoner bard who picked deep speech, so all of his bard songs are in deep speech, scaring the hell out of his
Oh,
party, but giving them buffs and inspiration.
I love that idea. Oh, if you're playing in the Forgotten Realms, um, the island chain that is off the Sword Coast, where most of the people there worship the Kraken, but it's not actually. It is a Kraken, but it's like a deep one's Kraken. Uh, and they like sacrifice children to it and what have you. I could see just like a bunch of them having a party and all of them speak deep speech, but nobody else knows what's going on. And then you just get thrown in the water to be sacrificed.
Sounds like a fun night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then for your equipment, you get common clothes, a set of dice or playing cards, a trinket that reminds you of home, which is very useful for role playing your character.
Mm-hmm.
An inexpensive item that represents your calling, maybe a dagger or a holy symbol, and a belt pouch containing 5 gold. This is very much like the variant human. Like, oh, I'm not sure what I want to be. I'm gonna get this background so that I have a pretty good like guess of what I'm gonna be, or like I'm gonna build into
Mm.
it.
Yeah, I definitely think this lends to, and this could be a fun thing for a person who maybe is, brand new to the game and really isn't sure what they want to do at all.
Hmm.
They're like, this is overwhelming to me to see all these options of, you know, criminal. You think you're playing a rogue. It's like, oh, I have to pick criminal, right? And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, but wait, what about urchin? What about it's so limiting it to being like, hey, listen, build it the way you think you'd like to do it. I could support this with
Hmm.
so far, at least
So
so
far,
far
so
with a couple
good.
of adjustments. Yeah.
Mechanically, I'm down so far. All right. So
Let's get to the
these
fun
are,
stuff.
yeah, these are what we talked about before. Like your calling is specific to this so that you know like what your character did in the past. But all of these tables are again stuff that you're supposed to put like on your character sheet in your like flaws and ideals section. And you can roll for these, but you can also put in whatever you want, or what a lot of people do if they've already played the game before is they just leave those blank and sort of add to them as they go along. but they are there to help you start role playing. And you don't have to roll for them. You could just choose one if you think that is what you want to play. The highly unusual this is a very important, ignoring the spelling error, this is a very important point that a lot of people don't seem to understand when they play D&D. Like, people don't become adventurers unless they need to in most situations. It is a very dangerous profession. If you are living a happy, rewarding life, you probably aren't going to be like, I'm going to go punch that beholder in the face. Unless you have a lot of money.
Unless you want that, or you want that really nice life to end.
Like, maybe I'm thinking there's probably people who have a lot of money and rewarding lives, and same as like in real life when they're like, I'm gonna go shoot a lion that somebody's already stabbed 35 times.
Yeah. But you do bring up a good point in that the average person doesn't want to go out and die. I do think that, and coupled with that is that most adventurers aren't trying to be heroes; they're just trying to adventure. I think also reminding your players that you're not really you probably did this because you have a higher calling or something that pushed you towards it, and you're more capable than the average person, but you're not so capable that the world cares much about you. You're like a dime a dozen at level 1. Unless it's specifically stated by your campaign, of course.
I just read through the second option in a regular calling, so this is like why your character became an adventurer. I would love if someone roleplayed, you signed up for a job, and you didn't realize it was for the Adventurers Guild or a mercenary company.
Oh my god, you make them like dyslexic? You do something like, I'm trying to think of like jobs that would be easily confused or something.
You thought that this demo job was construction related, not blowing up like a cave full of creatures.
Or like your character lost their job and some member of your family is like, I know a guy, and they just like, and you're like, I'll do it. Yes, absolutely. And you don't realize that you just completely signed your life away.
The number 5 option, a friend of yours tried this whole adventuring thing, and it honestly didn't seem too bad. I realized I didn't necessarily explain this too well, but like people who are failed adventurers in any system in any world that are still alive, like they're the lucky ones. Normally a failed adventurer just dies. This is a good, like, I'm the chosen one.
Or they have trauma, like they've watched their whole party die.
4 is you discovered an innate talent, magical ability, or mystical artifact and decided to put it. That's a good, like, oh no, I'm accidentally the chosen one, which technically is also number 1. You do get
honestly,
a feature.
2 is just the best.
This is peak. This is, if you say I want this to be my calling in any situation, the answer is yes. I don't care about the rest of your character. Yes.
I will say 3 is kind of like the reverse dark option. It's like, ain't nothing better to do with my life, so I guess I'll throw it away by being an adventurer. I think that could be an alternative fun way. Maybe like, if you want to play the extra emo warlock who's just like, I have nothing left to live for, and his patron's just like, no, you're gonna live for me. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna do all this because I said so.
Or even like I became a fighter because all I've done is lose. And it's time for me to strive for something.
Damn, that's
Gotta
that's intense. I
gotta
like
gotta
that.
climb that rope back up to living the good life. Oh, this is interesting. The feature that you get for this, so usually you get some buff as part of your background. You're inconspicuous because you're nobody. Nobody really pays attention to you. But it has a drawback.
I
That's also cool.
hmm.
Oh, and that's okay. So this is a really well thought out feature where like you're inconspicuous, so you don't really stand out. Like people aren't gonna single you out for anything. But if you do show someone how great you are, everyone around you no longer thinks that you're inconspicuous. It's much harder to like hide out. So if you want to keep this throughout the game, like you have to be a hero in secret almost.
Gotta be a vigilante.
Yeah, it was like you have to be. This
Yeah,
is good for the empowered.
this actually is. You have to be a secret vigilante.
When I take my clothes off, I
I
don't want
like that.
anyone to recognize me.
Like I'm also just imagining that like in the worst of situations, you've convinced this one person in a town that you actually are important because you're tired of feeling unimportant. And then of course in sneaking into a place the person's like, "It's you. You're the hero." And you're like, "Could you not have recognized me in this one moment?"
You're like trying to sneak up on the BBEG and you give somebody a wink and you're like behind them and they're like, "Oh my God, you're here!" And you're like, "You son of a bitch."
It's like you couldn't have waited till after I backstabbed before you said I'm here. Come on now.
Oh my god. I just thought of the perfect thing for the signing up to a job and you didn't realize what you're doing.
Tell us.
Somebody advertises for a barbarian, but they like misspell it or shorten it, and they think they're signing up to be a barber.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
They walk in like on
Oh,
the first day to the barracks and they're like, "Nobody has hair. What's happening?"
Or they have a way too much hair.
Yeah, one or the other.
They like walk in with like the normal clothes and like the little like barber like half apron thing with like the scissors and everything in it, and the other barbarians turn and they're like, "Okay, but why are you wearing all those other clothes under your loincloth?"
yeah. I like that idea. They just they he has like the worst rage possible. Like when he rages, it's just the most unsurprising rage. It's just like, are you actually angry? And then couple that with the inconspicuous part of everything. You're telling people, yeah, I'm a barbarian, and everyone's looking at you like, are you? Are you really though?
Do you even
You're not really
rage?
giving me barbarian.
Right.
Yeah. How do I rage? Oh, someone needs to make a barbarian and a with like barber scissors and the Spider-Man meme that's like, how do I shot web? But just with a barbarian, like, how do I rage? I need that. Anyone listening is skilled enough with Photoshop to do that.
And then
I
when
thank
he
you 1,000.
finally does learn to rage, when he does his rage, his shout is just like a cappella. Like a barbershop quartet. Love it.
Yeah,
Oh my
no,
god.
I
Or he
like that.
rages and basically turns into Edward Scissorhands.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, these are all amazing ideas. All of you on the internet, steal them and then send us what you've done, please.
And
Please.
fan art.
Fan art, yes!
yeah, no.
Did I subconsciously
off.
know you were in the chat, the Laundry King? Because when I thought of barbarians, I just imagined them bald because he's also a Goliath, like Grog. They don't usually have hair on top of their heads. That's my view of
You
barbarians
knew.
now. And
You
you've done
secretly
that to
knew.
me. His barbarian is a Goliath. All right. Ooh. Okay, like we said, I'm not really big on putting in the traits and the ideals and what have you. But like the number one here, oh, you would be so annoying if you joined the party and you were like, I'm not very good. None of you are very good. I don't know. You have some expertise and stuff, but like, what good's that gonna get you? Like, oh.
Oh, see, I was picturing it more as like, that one character that's like comfortable with everybody. Like, we'll talk
Oh.
to the little old lady down the street, we'll talk to the gang like the exact same way. Like, that's more how I was picturing it.
Oh.
Oh. See, I could see it kind of in both ways. The annoying aspect of, oh, is that a fireball? Cool. And everyone's the same to me, so they just like skip through both enemies and allies in the same fashion of just like nobody's really a threat.
Yeah.
I could almost see that. It's like we're gonna start a fight. Are we? Are you sure? I don't really think we're gonna do that.
I think we can talk our way out of this.
I was thinking at first that
Second one.
7. Well, you go.
Oh no. I was just gonna say the second one. I feel like for the commoner, you don't necessarily want an exciting life to be that exciting. Like
Hey, a nerdy Sakura.
in in the realm of the Forgotten Realms, Stara, you go depending from Spelljammer, wherever you want to pull your campaign and story from, depending on your TTRPG. Like we said, most people don't think it's a cool idea to be an adventurer so much as it's kind of like you're good enough to be. So the idea of this guy who's inconspicuous, very unusual, and not really good at anything necessarily, being like, I need to spice up my life and attempt to die. To me seems almost kind of contradictory, but
Mm.
I'm pretty sure you could negotiate it into working.
Hmm.
Because like I said, most things that are exciting, you know,
We'll kill you.
check going yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting there's exciting like fireworks, but a dragon's breath is not fireworks, it's death. So it's kind of
You're
like
like, oh my God,
that's
did
a
you
weird
hear
bubble.
last week? Cryovane froze like half the city, and they're like, yeah, I was at the memorials.
Yeah.
It's like actually, yes, yes, I do.
Oh, 3 makes me feel
But you
like
were gonna
you're evil. I can understand like being the good guy,
and
being like I have to show them how great I am, like as the hero, but also like that would be good if you were an evil character. Like, I'll show them. I'll show them all.
it it definitely leans on the revenge arc, I feel like. It
Oh.
seems like you have a vengeful character.
Commoner background, Oath of Vengeance Paladin.
My goodness. What are you, Timmy's dad from the Fairly Odd Parents?
All right. I was looking at 7 and thinking it was like Simon from the D&D movie, but then I was like, oh, but no, he actually is a relative of Elminster. Like he hasn't been making it up the whole time. I'm always out of my depth.
It's interesting though.
That's good too. Keep going.
No, I was gonna say the fact that they say depending on what sounds most impressive, I feel like if that's gonna be your personality trait, you need to pick your skill proficiency as deception because no one's gonna believe you. Judging from everything else you get, no one's ever going to believe that your family was impressive at all.
we have the exact opposite problem in the campaign I'm running. Our ranger who goes by Goblin Slayer. Like every time we meet a new creature or we hear about a big strong creature, he'll be like, "I fought one of those when I was young." And his charisma is he has negative as his modifiers, and nobody ever believes him. They always just look at him like, "No, you did it."
Sure, Betty.
He was probably there, but he definitely did not fight it.
But like, did he though? Is that the point? Like,
Nobody knows. He says it with such confidence, though, but nobody believes him. His master
oh,
probably fought them. I don't know about him as baby. As baby human that coughs up blood every once in a while. Probably not.
So I need to check on that baby unit. That's all it was. That's just,
All right, what are your ideals? Okay, give my all. I crave power because I've never had it before because you're just a dude. Trust.
it,
Okay. Oh,
I think this is the most I've seen the classes or like the options and the ideals and like personality traits lend itself so heavily into really like forcing your character into like how they're actually going to choose a class as well. Normally you'll see
yeah.
stuff that's kind of very general, but this is kind of like I was a family of mages, so now you want to be a mage, like a magic class or a caster class, or I have vengeance, like you said, an oath of vengeance, commoner, paladin, you know what I mean, things of that nature. It seems like they're really kind of being like, this is exactly this is if you pick this, it's leaning you towards this. Even in the beginning when it mentioned that you take your class's starting item as your like basic as one of your basic items,
Mm.
like a dagger or a holy symbol. It's kind of weird that they're really heavily relying on your class fixing your personality.
yeah.
It almost seems like you can use most of the stuff that's in here like together. A lot of the time it's just like, are you good or are you bad? So do this. And they don't necessarily mesh with one another. But a lot of these items, a lot of these options like pair really well with one another. So this is
Yeah.
really well thought out as a background.
Yep.
I also like that indifference and equality are both technically neutral. That's cool. Smart.
3 is interesting. Whenever I don't know what's going on, I should be able to put my trust in those who do. That I like that because that really lends to what you should be doing in a D&D party. If you're
Mm.
playing a campaign with other people, you should
Mhm.
always recognize that your job is to not cover every aspect, but to cover your aspect really well and believe in the others that do the things you can't.
Mhm. Mhm. Like explaining to people who are brand new to D&D, it's a party game. Like even the way that the challenges are rated are based on a group of people. Like sure, if you've played a long time or you start at like the end game and you're going into like prestige levels and feats and stuff, you could be fighting a god, but you're still not fighting that god alone. You're
Mhm.
supposed to be doing it with your team.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm also gonna use just gonna adopt protection as a ideal for many characters in the future. That's just who I is as a person. Oh, one makes me so upset. I have a family. I took up adventuring so that I could make money for like the healing spell that my wife needs. I have to make it back. Like I feel like you're giving yourself a death flag. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Guess that wife, goodbye. You're never seeing her again.
I have a wife. Do you? Do you?
Oh.
How sure are you about that?
Number 4 is great. I quit my job. So
That's ours.
you left. You left
You're
the
laughing
barber
so hard I
shop.
can't even tell what you're saying.
You left the barber shop. You stormed down and became a barbarian. Oh, it's amazing.
There needs to be like a barber barbarian class as like a homebrew now. I think that needs to exist. Our barbarian. I need
Yep.
that.
And like when they rage, they get to make one swing. So they have like the little like barber razor blade, and they're like, ah, and they cut a line off your hair.
Yep.
Bonus action, they can attack with like a small razor every time. You get swung out with a giant axe, and then they just go line up. Just fix your look. Cutting the enemy's bangs off or slice off the magnificent beard of of like a dwarf.
Oh yeah.
Listen, D&D
You
is
know what I
about
want?
having fun. Go have fun.
I want a background thing where it's like there's this you've been being chased by this character like the entire time. It's just like part of your arc that you're like running away from this guy. You become an adventurer, you go through all these things, you're always trying to outrun his like minions and everything, and it turns out that it's something like painfully normal, like it's totally mundane. It's like you owe back rent, or like it's your
Oh,
dentist trying to get you to come in to get a tooth out or something.
Someone found your wallet. They've been
Someone
trying to
found your
give it back
wallet.
to you.
I think that would be great going on that aspect alone. It's just like you ran out of a store and it's just one angry shopkeeper trying to give you back your change as you run across the world because
Yep.
he really can't keep it.
Yep.
Threw him a platinum for like a gold item and he's like, "Sir, your change." He's racing across all of the world to catch you.
Yep.
Why does everyone who chases me have a name tag? Ugh, this is so frustrating.
He's part of a collection of just store owners that randomly lunge at you as you walk out of a store because they're like, "Wait, you have to take your change from this guy at the beginning of the game back."
Oh my god, you saved up all of your money for like years and years and years. You finally get to go on a vacation. You take your family to like the next country over, and their shopkeepers are like painfully honest. So it's like it's that guy from that shop on that vacation.
I love it.
Yeah,
Your family's still waiting for you at a hotel somewhere.
you run off away from them because it's just
You're trying to lose your pursuers. I can't go
Yep.
home. I can't go home.
I can't lead them to my wife.
kids. He's sending messages back every once in a while. It's like, "Honey, did they see any of you guys leave? Good. I think they're still on my tail." It's like, "I gotta go," and just every sending message
Yeah.
back home is just cut off abruptly to the sound of running.
Yep. Like, can we do like a normals campaign now?
I feel like we should.
With the commoner bond, the 6th option, I work to defend all those with ordinary lives. This guy only helps people who are also commoners.
Oh my. King wants you to kill a dragon? No thanks. Something is attacking your crops? We're on it. We will dedicate our lives to your crops.
You make it
We
to
will pound
like
those cicadas one by one.
you make it to level 20 by getting people's cats and dogs back, killing rats and sellers.
Oh my.
I love it.
That would be hilarious.
So far, I think I'm going to add this to the repository. This is great.
Honestly, I would use this as is so far. Like I said, with a couple of tweaks, I would probably use this too. So I think I'm with you. I think I also want to do DM Lacar's idea though of a normals campaign. Just instead of 5 adventurers, everyone all signed up for a job.
Mhm.
not knowing what the job really was. And now it's just like 6 random or like however many people are playing, just all showing up. And it's like, what's your background? What did you do before this? It's like, did you work in a temple? Actually, no. I used to just like kill insects outside my mom's window, and now I'm here because she's like, get a job, you bum. It's like, what?
Other guy's like, I used to sweep outside the bakery.
I was a barber.
I was just
What?
laughing, thinking because you're so inconspicuous, the party name is like Everyday Normal Guys.
They're like
I
the
would make
neighborhood
it like,
like
are you even a party?
no, they're like the neighborhood guys that did like the pickup soccer game on like weekends.
Oh my god. Yes.
I love this. This is the best one yet. Became
That's fun.
adventurers because everyone knew that they were the only ones who could get people together to do something.
Yes.
Yo, you ran the block party last week? Yo, I got some rats in my cellar. Can you help a brother out?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, that is absolutely what we will do. They're like, the kingdom's on fire. There are rats in his cellar. Okay? The kingdom will always be on. There's mages to put that out. No mage is going in his basement to kill those rodents but us.
Yep.
We need one of the people in this party has to only use quotes that Terry Crews used in Everybody Hates Chris. Like, do you think I'm made of money? Do you think shoes grow on trees?
Or Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah. Yes. Any Terry Crews.
Yeah.
You could make that character, just make Terry Crews.
Yeah,
And then go
just make Terry Crews.
Terry Crews, max out charisma and go from there, all right? That's just charisma and strength, go.
Yep.
Terry Crews.
Love me some Terry Crews. Never turn down Terry Crews.
That's 35 cents. That's 35 gold worth of fireball. That's 110 gold worth of planar gate. What are you doing?
Finally, for your flaws, I horribly underestimate everything and everyone. Sounds amazing if you're the one in the group who makes the plans.
No, that's just a death wish.
But it's so funny.
These are some interesting flaws. I just kind of quickly read down the line. I despise anyone I think tries too hard to stand out.
You're gonna hate most adventurers, my guy.
Yeah. Gonna be like, did you hear about that boar I slayed last week? And then you'll be like, we all heard about the boar. Nobody cares. And somebody's like, what? He saved 6 children. Yeah, well, we cleared out a cellar full of rats. All right.
Did you do a pig roast afterwards that the whole neighborhood went to? No, we don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's very good. I get terribly homesick and anxious. I just think of there's a professor at our college that she studied abroad and did a whole bunch of studies in Vietnam, like in the past. She's currently in Vietnam right now doing another study. But you could not say anything to this lady without her saying, and in Vietnam, it didn't matter what you were talking about. You could be like, oh, I read a book last week, and she would immediately pipe up, and in Vietnam, I need this guy. I need a commoner to exist. Okay, I need them. Commoner background adventurers. I need them.
I habitually lie about my strength and feats to make myself seem more impressive. I know people with this commoner flaw.
Yeah.
That would be a rough one to play with, I'm not gonna lie.
It's not a fun one. If you flip it around, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Like you are the guy that can pick up the car and you make it sound like you can't, lift a table napkin.
You're just humble. You're so humble.
Yeah.
And then the
6
last
is
one.
interesting.
Yeah, the last one's pretty interesting. Like I feel like though this leads more into characters who are not necessarily selfish, but like characters who are just like, why do I have to save them guys who have rats in their basement? And like you have to explain it to them as, if we don't kill the rats now, the rats will get out and maybe they'll be in your basement.
You have to like redirect everything to them, back to them in a way that they feel like they can connect to it now.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying.
That's like almost
Uh,
just being on the spectrum.
That's
And
somebody else's problem field.
yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't really deal with OPP, other people's problems.
But yeah, that was the commoner background from Ascended Bebop. I'm putting this in the repository. I like this
I love
one.
it.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I will say I did not notice, nor was I really scanning for the typos that you had mentioned outside of the
unusual.
the highly unusual. But overall, good job.
Yeah,
I like it.
really well thought out.
Mhm.
Very well thought out background where everything kind of ties together and makes you making the character easier, which is really what the backgrounds are there for. And again, this is good like in a variant human sort of way, where like you're gonna taper this character to something that you want to get done during this campaign.
Or something that, or nothing get done. Like your character
Ooh.
starting in the beginning really has no end goal. And of course, it gets discovered through the course of the campaign. You know, the idea of delaying the BBEG until later in the campaign idea, where they don't necessarily, where they know the evils exist, but they're not really necessarily on the radar of a particular evil. I feel like this guy would pop up and be like, "Oh, I guess we have to kill that guy, huh?"
Why do I have two of these? Go away. The next one we're going to take a peek at. I will write this down. I will change the music in a
just
second.
flash murmur on the screen.
Did you hear me whisper? Hi, Murmur.
I saw his face and I was just like,
Murmur approves of the commoner background.
Murmur's like, I was a common.
Murmur
I was a
has
commoner.
judged you not guilty.
After we do the empowered, can we please do a one shot like neighborhood adventure with commoners?
Oh my, yes!
Neighborhood watch, just a one. We're on neighborhood
Yes.
watch for a
Oh,
night. That's the
I love it.
whole adventure.
I love it. All right. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of weapon-focused feats. So, in 5e, I know a lot of people complain about this, where like you start knowing how to use a weapon, and technically your proficiency bonus goes up as you get better, and that's supposed to be like the way that you show you've gotten better with a weapon, you've gotten better at doing things as you adventure. But a lot of people complain that like it never feels like you got so good with your blade, that kind of thing. So this person, Jadeor, or if you follow their Reddit account, Sensitive Coyote 865, came up with a bunch of feats that are specifically that are specifically based on different weapons that you could get that will improve your strength. So I would even say, like, this sort of thing makes sense to not even like make your characters take as like your 4th, 8th, or 12th, like as a feat instead of an ASI upgrade. They almost might make sense to take if your character specifically just used this one weapon for like 10 levels. And you were like, you've done it. You use this one weapon all day, every day. Well, let's get into it.
It's interesting to see this mechanic brought back. older editions. I think the one that I'm currently in, which is a rules cyclopedia, which is just second edition for anyone who's never even touched those books, like the old Dragon magazines and all those other fun things that D&D used to release uh, back in the Gygax days. But they used to actually have a training proficiency scale in your weapon, so you could gain certain abilities, special abilities, as you found people who were better at that weapon than you in the world and spent time training with them. So I think this could be a fun way to do that too. It's like, you really want to get better at an axe? This guy's like an expert axe wielder. You're just a novice. Train with him and maybe he can get you up to like apprentice and kind of go up, scale up from that way. It's very it puts a more RPG, like a much more video game-esque feel to it, I think, in a weird way. Kind of like a Dragon Age or maybe even like a Skyrim kind of thing. But I like the idea of it. I like seeing it back.
Yeah. I like the idea of, and also like what you just said is something that I try to run my games, like I've said before. If you meet a dude or a creature or whatever that you don't kill immediately, if you meet an NPC that has some ability that seems like something you could learn, like Sildar Hallwinter, if you're running Lost Mines of Phandelver or Phandelver and below, he's got the parry ability, which is as a reaction, he can add +3 to his AC on one attack that he can see coming if he's got a weapon in his hand already. And I'm like, that could be something you could learn if you just trained under this guy. He can teach you how to do that. It doesn't make sense that it's just not available to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is gonna be fun. I'm not gonna no more further delays. I want to see what they got.
All right, so we're
Can
starting
you share
with
the link so that I can pull it up too?
yeah.
Yeah, because YouTube like lags by like a lot.
Got you.
I was gonna say sometimes it's a little slow.
So I'll
Yeah.
I'll share them in this chat and the Twitch chat when they come up.
Oh, cool.
It seems like this track is a little lower than the last one, so if you want to hear it, boost that volume. But I figure a song about victory and freedom would be good for getting better with your weapons. First one's Club Master. You gain proficiency with great clubs if you didn't have proficiency already. Clubs you wield go up 1 damage die. So D6 instead of D4, and then for great clubs, D10 instead of D8. And whenever you score a critical hit on a creature with a club or great club, that creature has to succeed on a con save or have its speed reduced to 0 and be unable to make reactions until the end of its next turn. So you bonk someone really hard when you get a crit.
I like that it's on a crit.
I
like that you're flavoring up crits from being more than double your damage dice.
Yeah, like seeing them add this, I'm like, why don't we do that? Why is the DM why is the onus on the DM here to be like, oh, you got a crit, something crazy's gonna happen? Like the Laundry King when he fought our first boss and he hit it with a bludgeoning weapon and it was a skeletal construct and he got that crit and I was like, oh, you smashed this thing's leg to pieces. You just break right through and it's lost a leg. The onus doesn't always have to be on us to make it extra cool. You should get something cool for a crit.
Yeah.
I think also, though, if you let your players feel comfortable flavoring what this critical attack looks like, kind of starting with like, so how do you do this hit? Like making them stop and go, oh, how do I hit you for this crit? I think that's another fun way to kind of, this adds obviously to the crit naturally, but I think that's kind of a fun way to do it too. Like the way you did it obviously for breaking up a skeletal construct, I think that's the kind of fun stuff you had to add in there, because a D20, a nat 20 should feel like you've really done a magnificent hit. If I stab you the same way at a 19, an 18, and a 20, I don't think that's all too I just stab you a little extra hard on a 20. No, I like walk up behind you and like catch you in the side and throw you to the ground or something like that. I don't know. There's fun to be had here. And I see the daggers next too.
So the Clubmaster one specifically, like you're bonking someone really hard in the head. I forgot what I was watching. I was watching some movie the other day, and like this thug guy who's been at like the top of the thug game forever, like he smacks the main character with like a steel pipe in the back of the head. And when the main character wakes up, he's like, I need you to understand that it's very difficult just to knock someone out with a weapon like this. I had to train to be able to hit just right. I could have just taken your head off, man. Like, I had to put in time and effort to make this happen. And that's all I'm thinking with this. Like, I'm bonking you just right. I've had training with this, so I know just where to bonk you to really make it sting.
I like that. It's like a pinpoint accuracy attack.
Dagger Master's up next. You go up another damage die with your daggers, so you deal D6 instead of D4. Oh, but you get an extra damage roll on top of the double. That's interesting. Like, you're really hitting a vital point with this.
I think that really lends to your idea of striking something accurately from just before.
You can draw a dagger as part of the action. Well, I feel like that one specifically in my campaigns doesn't really make sense because I already let my players do that. But increasing the range, meaning you're better at throwing them, super cool. Because like our water Genasi's got basically leather belts all over her body, and like, yes. Here's a barbarian.
I need this guy.
Oh my god! I love this! I also love that he's got like a normal head of hair and then Princess Leia's hair on top of him.
He is a barber.
Is that a headset made of hair? It is!
There were so many disturbing other things that came up first. I had to put naked in the negative prompt.
Oh god.
Just schlong hanging out because it's a barbarian.
Nobody
but
needs
AI,
to see that and barber.
things were places
Oh,
they should
that's
not have been.
amazing. Oh, I love it.
Deconstructed human beings.
Oh, you have
For some reason, apparently holding scissors is a problem for AI.
Oh, it's because they can't do hands. Oh, I see. I didn't realize that until just now. Wait a minute. It's like his finger has melded with the edge of the scissor.
No, his whole hand has contorted. He only has one arm. His whole hand has contorted.
You're right. I just realized.
It's only a half a scissor.
But it looks like it has optics on it. That's the best part.
He's got a scope on it. That's how he gets to 30 to 90 feet. You put a scope on his dagger.
You put a scope on. Okay, so this is a real life thing, not a D&D thing. But my brother's like really into guns and knives and what have you. So I wanted to get him for his birthday. They make knives that have like a handle on them that makes them look like a gun. So they're like rifle shaped knives, but then they have like a LED light on the top that you can use as a flashlight. And I'm thinking that's what this guy has to use, obviously.
LED flashlight rifle knife.
For the record, you cannot ship them to New York, which is stupid because it looks like a rifle. I was like, I'm pretty sure if you took out this knife, someone's going to know it's not a gun. Unless they think possibly it's like the Punisher movie with Thomas Jane, not Warzone, the one that came out before it, when he fights the the bard hitman. He pulls out a switchblade, and the guy's like, "You brought a knife to a gunfight," and then the Punisher pushes a button, and the blade shoots the knife out, and it kills him.
That's pretty cool.
I'm like, you could make that a magic item. That should be a magic item. A knife that shoots itself. Yeah, come on in. We might be getting our new DM to join us, who's technically been here from the beginning, but just hasn't actually joined in the session.
She's a lurker.
Yeah. I also like that this one specifically, like, as an added bonus, you get advantage on sleight of hand and stealth checks to conceal daggers on your person or put them elsewhere. So, like, you could spend your bonus actions in a battle, like leaving knives around, or even leave the knives in a, like, you go scope out a joint, you leave a whole bunch of knives in places, and like as you walk through the arena when you're fighting people and killing them and what have you, you're just grabbing the knives you stash. Like you were John Wick when he's in the catacombs and he stashed all those guns. This is amazing.
I almost thought of it almost in a reverse situation where you stab someone and then you stash the knife on the person that you want to frame for the kill. Like the lights go out, your rogue stabs somebody and then stashes as a bonus action and moving back to where they were, just throws it into like a guard's pocket and they can't tell.
That's good too. I was thinking, like, when you said that at first, I was like, you stab this person and then you like make a cavity in their body to hide the knife in. So when someone goes to look at the body, you can be like, and look, this is where they were killed. Pull the knife out and stab them too.
That would be an intense way to do it.
Like a really evil gumshoe.
Definitely a commoner.
I learned to do this because I was really bored in the morgue. That was my last job. I'm at a Dagger Master. This is great. Nera, Valley of Ageria, if you're watching this and you've done some crazy things with daggers, I think you should absolutely look into Dagger Master.
Following Dagger Master, you got Dart Master. And kudos to giving the dart love.
Yeah.
Seriously, underloved weapon.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you. My Elefunk in Bacon's campaign started with darts, and I did use them at the beginning, but then I was like, I'm just gonna punch people, man. But he gave me he found like a homebrew item that's like a gauntlet, but it's made out of shadows, and I can summon darts from it that are like, they're supposed to be kunai because you just pull them out of shadow like a ninja, and like he made darts cool again.
You know, it's funny you said that though, because there's nothing that says a dart couldn't be a kunai, just reflavored. It's kind of, I had a player ask me once, like, oh, if I wanted like to throw ninja stars or something like that on my rogue and make them more like a ninja, would you be okay with me flavoring the dagger or the dart as a, you know, as said weapon? And I was like, yeah. Doesn't change anything. You know, keep the same damage.
I've seen a lot of people on DM Academy and other places be like, I want this weapon in the game. How do I make this weapon? And like the amount of times someone has immediately responded with just change the name of something that already exists. Boom, your weapon's there. And that person who asked the question being like, yo, you can do that? Is mind-boggling. You can do whatever you want. This game is for everybody.
No one's going to stop them, trust me.
WotC will send the Pinkertons after you, but that's only if you steal from them, okay? Other than that, you're good to go.
Don't leak magic or 1D and you're fine.
This is the only one, though, where you don't go up by a damage die. That's interesting.
Huh.
And there's no critical hit bonus.
But you can the bonus ability, the increase to range to 30 and 90 feet, which I think should be standard for throwing weapons anyway, is really cool. But having the bonus ability to aim and give yourself advantage, while in my head it looks like if you've ever been to a bar and people are playing darts, it looks like someone lining up a shot. At the same time, that's a kind of a really cool idea that like you're really kind of like hyper focusing to hit this person with this next dart.
There's, I don't know if it's both a ranger and a rogue. It's part of the when Tasha's came out and they added in new features, like optional features for you to take for your classes. I think it is both a rogue and a ranger now have built in, if you let them take it as the DM, this ability where they can do it with any weapon. So nowadays, I think that this might be a little outdated. Like you'd need to tweak it somewhere else because your character might already have this ability. Actually, you know what? I will double check.
I'll have to take a look.
I think both the ranger and the rogue have it in my campaign. Let me see. Where's my rogue? Oh, is D&D Beyond going to do the thing where I can't find anything? Love when it does that, especially when you're in the middle of combat. Oh, yes, I love it. It makes me so happy. Steady aim. Rogue definitely has it. Does Ranger also have it? Can I just look up the steady aim page? It's going to send it to our chat. I know it is.
It looks like it's only rogues from what I can see.
All right. Rangers might need this then, but a rogue's going to get this for free if you're nice to them.
I like that barbarian much better.
I know. It's because it was actually drawn by a human.
Oh, it's perfect. That's his club? Oh, this is perfect. Thank you, Fortnite. Thank you for.
I don't think I'd ever say thought I'd hear those words.
Yeah.
D&D players thanking Fortnite for something. That's.
I
think we've crossed streams. Yeah, I think we've crossed some streams there that we can't undo.
I don't want to get too off topic, but we were talking about with one of our friends earlier. The Build-A-Figure for one of the Marvel figures is oh my god, I forgot her name. But it's Khazar's pet saber-toothed tiger. And I was like, how come Khazar and Dritz Do'Urden haven't hung out in a crossover? They're like the same character.
Because of who Dritz is. That's why.
I will add that I'm gonna add Dart Master to the repository, but I'm gonna add that it needs some tweaks. It's definitely weaker than the other ones, especially if you're already a rogue. The next one though,
the net is a forgotten weapon.
Yeah, nobody uses a net. Absolutely no one uses a net.
Not in 5e. If you go back though, the net, there's a couple of weapons lost to time as we've gone through editions. The net has gone down, also have the bolas and the blackjack, which were all just interesting weapons in older editions.
Love me some bolas. Oh, it's so good. Just the idea. Well, okay, so seeing Netmaster here, and the thing that, like the last part of Netmaster is the part that desperately needs to be changed. Like a net has like I think it's like a 10-foot range, but a net has disadvantage if you're using it as a ranged weapon when you're near people. Like cooked in, its primary purpose you're doing at disadvantage.
Seeing as the net's really not meant to be a fighting weapon in terms of damage and more restraint, I do agree that it's always been very dumb to me that being within 5 feet when you only have like 10 feet to throw the thing has always been kind of a weirdly annoying thing to me, that if you're in melee, it's a disadvantage. But I kind of like the addition to this where you can fix a broken net, because
Like,
that's the other thing. They break
yeah.
super quick.
And a net specifically, though, you want someone to touch it. Like, once they've touched it, they're going to get caught in it. That is the purpose of the net. So having disadvantage to throw it on top of someone is crazy, because even if they're waving their arms in front of you, that just means their arms are now stuck in the loops of the net. So just flip over the rest of them. You should have advantage if someone is touching it.
I would have been happy if you could have made like an additional roll to like slam them in the net.
Oh. Or like, this changed it so that now you could use weighted nets. I realize that as the way that most people are thinking of nets, like, it's just the thread that you throw on someone. But it's more like a gladiator's net is what it's supposed to be, where it has weights on the bottom. So when you throw it over someone, it's heavy. It's harder for them to get out and move.
Actually, looking at what the net does in 5e as is really quickly. A large or smaller creature hit by a net is restrained until free. It has no effect on creatures that are huge or larger, formless creatures.
Oh.
A creature can use its action. It's a base DC 10 strength check to free itself, no matter what. If dealing 5 slashing damage with an AC of 10 frees the creature. Yeah, this is really, as a weapon. Yeah, the range of the weapon is 5 to 15 feet.
Oh, I thought it was 10. Still, like, it's very difficult to use this properly.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, while I think it's great they tried to improve nets, I'm not going to add this one because I'm not going to make someone waste a feat upgrade or a learning experience on making the net better. I'll just use something else, bro.
The net wasn't your speed.
Alternatively, if you wanted to, like, if you had an artificer that made a net gun, okay, fine. But just the net by itself, let's just use something else, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone successfully use a net in a long time, so.
Yeah, it's great for ambushes when you're like a baby, but it's always someone else dropping it on you.
Yeah. Usually it's a mimic ceiling for me, but
Ooh.
I've been caught in a net or two.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've had 5 different characters have their heads almost get consumed by ceiling mimics. Ceiling mimics, door mimics, chest mimics. A rug mimic once almost tried to choke me out.
You're free.
That's what I was thinking.
Secretly, I just might be.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was going to be something about mimics, but not. Oh, no! Rug of Smothering. I love the Rug of Smothering just as a creature. You don't have to actually use it in a campaign, but the fact that it can wrap around someone, and to get it off, you basically have to beat it off, but you're also beating whoever's inside of it. Comedy gold, okay?
Fair.
I would use one, but you guys would just find a way to tame it.
Oh, our party in your game is so far on the adoption agency side of the spectrum versus murder hobo. It's so far.
The only people you guys have killed so far pretty much have been accidental.
Does the lich count? Because he was already dead.
He wasn't a lich. Do you really think you guys could have one-shot a lich?
I mean, I could have. I turned him. I just sent his bones back. He could come back. He just has to reassemble himself. You can keep
Shin,
those.
they keep referring to this thing that they took out as a lich. It lasted 1 round with their level 4. No.
You can't call it. I was gonna say. I guess you could be a demi lich, but in D&D canon, a demi lich is just the head.
It wasn't a lich and no one did an arcana check to see what it was.
Oh, I just threw it back in the portal where it belonged. Nope, you don't belong here. Goodbye. Wait, no, slings doesn't extend? That's it? You get double range, and then you can load 2 stones into the sling, but only for one of your attacks, say if you have multi-attack. And then the next turn you get disadvantage. Oh,
Why?
That
That's a weird
seems
addition.
almost worse.
Like, just load another stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, how the hell do you shoot 1 stone out of a sling that has 2 in it?
You almost feel like you have to have like a custom sling
Yeah.
built to hold 2 rocks, but only let go of, like, it has a clasp on it. But
A
again, if
double
you're getting
barrel shotgun.
it's a
Yes!
double barrel sling.
It's like when you pull back on the string, you have, well, assuming you're not using the like David and Goliath type sling, you'd need like a slingshot, and you have like 1 finger on each rock in the elastic band before you let go.
So then I would argue you should have disadvantage on the first one.
Yeah. Or at least roll to see if the 2 rocks collide in air or both hit your target.
Yeah.
You'll have disadvantage if you're hitting the same target. If you choose 2 targets, it's normal.
But then how are you hitting?
Because you figure if you've got 2 rocks next to each other, their trajectory is going to be different from the sling. Because normally on a sling or a slingshot, whatever's in the back is what you aim with. So now if you have 2, hitting the same target's going to be hard, but hitting 2 targets separately would be easier.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with Sling Master.
I wouldn't put
I
Sling
can't.
Master in there.
I can't at this point because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, what character would be motivated to be a sling master? And I'm like, I know halflings usually use slings.
I was going to say it's
And
got
then
to be a halfling.
I'm like, what would make them a master though? And now all I can picture is like a halfling whose like first 2 fingers are like gigantic from how much they practice. I can't even.
Maybe if you add lembas bread to the campaign, they're a master because they're used to shooting bread into people's mouths. That's all I got. I wouldn't say sling master. I wouldn't make someone waste time with that one.
Yeah.
Trident master. There's a weapon nobody uses. You just use a spear instead.
I feel like Trident and Spear and Javelin should all be the same weapon.
Because like spear and javelin makes sense. Trident being separate but having no special abilities is so stupid. Like the addition here is if you score a critical hit, you can disarm someone. That makes sense because a trident, like that's why there's extra things up there so you can disarm someone. The fact that it works just like a spear is stupid.
I'd also say you should be able to restrain someone, like a hand or something, and like the tongs of
Oh,
a
you could,
trident.
yeah. You can restrain or you can disarm. I would say that as well. You do get the step up in damage though, which I think technically all of these should have had the step up in damage. You're better with these weapons.
But this one's the only one that denotes the versatility aspect, the versatile aspect of the trident, which is that you can wield it 1 or 2-handed, and it gives the bonus to both styles of usage.
The club had it too, because great clubs is with 2 hands.
But
oh
this
wait,
is
no,
noting...
you're wrong. I mean, I'm wrong.
Like I am?
Sorry,
I'll
Great
put the
Club
gear.
is different. Yeah, this is the only. Oh, is this the only one that has versatility?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a Great Club is naturally two-handed. A club, I mean, technically, I think you should be able to two-hand a club, bring down some extra power, but the Trident's the only one I think that's an actual versatile weapon.
Okay.
So the fact they give the 1D, the D6 to D8 or the D8 to D10 on two-handed, I like that. Thrown range, I don't think
Okay.
anyone ever really throws their spear.
Unless you have a ton of them, like we have. Our ranger has a quiver of Alona, which has different pockets. You can put different ranged ammunition and weapons in them. So our barbarian just like walks up behind the ranger and just throws javelins because it's got like 30 of them in that pocket. It's like, okay. But other than that, yeah, most people are holding on to whatever they've got. I would say if you tweak this, so like you were right that you could restrain someone in addition to trying to disarm them, I think that's great.
Bad though. Again, it's not
Definitely
bad.
better than Sling and Netmaster.
And we got the one that makes me the most excited because it's the one weapon I aim to make every character at least once try and use, and it's the whip. I don't care. The whip is so bad as a weapon.
Yeah. It looks so cool, so useless.
Yeah.
So in old D&D, the whip was actually worse. It was a 1d2, and you could either do 1d2 damage or paralyze, which is the good part because you could actually essentially paralyze someone with a whip crack
Mm-hmm.
and get advantage on hits against them in older editions.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, it's been like deleted from the whip's repository of things to do. It's just like, oh, you hit somebody with a piece of leather. Because every whip is leather. And or if you make a chain whip, it's still a D4, which makes me sad.
It gives you the damage step up, but the second option, you can Indiana Jones your way through things. Now, the way that they described it is you've increased your jump distance by 10 feet. So technically that means, like, you still can't jump further than your character would normally be able to walk. Which is weird. You would think you would get an extra 10 feet instead of just, like, increasing the distance of that one little jump.
Mm.
I would rule that in that favor. You can go an extra 10 feet if you whip somewhere.
It's interesting though because it almost creates like bionic, like it's extending your reach. So I'm imagining it's like one of those little grabby arms for you. Activating a switch. The last one though. So
Deafen
activating a switch,
everybody? Oh, that's nice.
pulling things towards you, dope. I think you should always be able to pull things, objects, and creatures towards you. The fact that they allow medium creature pull as well is cool.
Who doesn't want to get over here to someone? Like, everyone wants that.
Not me. I want that Devo, crack that whip. And so you're getting like a thunder wave spell with your whip.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
As a bonus, so then you could then smack someone. It's especially good, like, if you think about it as like, oh, the enemy needs to, like, they need to receive orders. I was thinking like, oh, how many things give you disadvantage if you're deafened? But really, you should be looking at it as, how are they going to get orders if they can't hear?
Overall, personally for me, I will take Whipmaster for my not for my campaign, not for my plays, but for me. My players don't get this one. This is just for me as the DM. No, I like Whipmaster. Personally, it kind of goes back, I think, to some of the earlier stuff that we saw with Clubbed and Dagger Master. So I kind of like that it does more.
And for those of you on the stream who are looking at the repository, remember, if you become a patron or you become a channel member, you'll get access to the repository and the D&D music overhaul.
Which reminds me,
I can't actually give you the music, but a lot of it is royalty free and what have you, so you can just know the title and then go looking for it.
speaking of liking, commenting, and subscribing, if you haven't already
I love you guys.
submitted your paychecks
Help
to
us.
DM Okami,
Help Okami.
to help us help Okami, as always, DM Lacara and I both plead to you with an open heart to subscribe to it, become a member, become a patron, like the video, share it with your friends that play D&D, so that, once again, Okami does not get forced to drink LaCroix.
You know those TV commercials you used to see where they would show like emaciated children and they would be like, "We are begging you for your help. Feed this
Our Sarah
child."
McLachlan.
Yeah, this is our Sarah McLachlan. This help us help Okami.
I'm crying.
Like, if I could play In the Arms of an Angel without copyright in the background every time we pitch to you to subscribe, we would, because it's that important, folks. So if you're enjoying yourself, click the like, transcend the subscribe buttons, join the patrons if you have the extra funds or the YouTube membership, and then you get to see all the cool stuff, like our Empowered, or Avowed Inventory, or our party on a one-night night watch of commoners, as Diabakar suggested we need to do now.
These
because
are
I am
great
sold.
ideas. I love them.
But you won't see it if you don't join one of those two. So
I got a notification recently that Twitch is changing its subscription models. So I don't think you can change the amount of your levels, like how much they cost, but I am going to take a look and see if I can match up some of the Twitch subscriber levels to like what they are normally on YouTube or Patreon. So that will happen sometime in the near future. I gotta take a peek, but it seems like they're raising the prices of Twitch subscriptions, which is a super weird thing to do because it's basically like you're donating to someone. So like I don't know how you can raise the price of a donation. You know what I mean?
it's a little weird.
Seems a little sketchy.
But if you don't want to raise the price, you can just join the Patreon.
It's true.
Patreon or YouTube membership, because those will probably be cheaper. So do it.
If you do have Prime Gaming or Amazon Prime, apparently I'm getting yelled at on the side for not telling people to do this. Apparently, if you have Prime Gaming, you get one free Twitch sub a month. You can just assign it to a channel. So I'm supposed to be out here being like, "Can I have your free subscription, please?" So can I have your free subscription, please?
Or we'll send Murmur to your house to watch
Yes.
Murmur, come back! Where are you? I closed that tab. No, not that. Come here, Murmur.
Okay, so you know, the choice is yours, folks.
Hey guys. Hey. Hey.
The only way we can get Okami to actually post on his own Patreon.
Hey.
Yeah,
Hey,
can do it through the voice of Murmur. We got him.
That's good stuff. I'm gonna see if I can make the button. I'll just hit the button on the stream deck, and then like Murmur will like fade in the corner. It'll be amazing.
You know what we need? We need to Okami, you need to get like some really soulful sort of music, and we need to set it to a picture of Murmur and like a canned like help us help Okami bit, and and we'll just insert that into every video.
Yes, I am 100% with that. Even if we have to do it in like a terrible old South Park way, where like the bottom half of the mouth moves.
Yep.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
We will animate this.
I love this. Oh, I was supposed to put in the proficiencies for all these things. Okay, I will do that. So the way my repository is set up is if there's a prereq for something, I have it written there. I didn't put in the prereqs for these, but they're pretty self-explanatory. Like Club Master prereq, proficiency with clubs.
All masteries require proficiency first, basically.
Yeah.
Which you get just from naturally having martial proficiencies, simple proficiencies, and things of that nature. So you don't have to go out of your way, folks.
The great club, the club master one. What up, BP? The great master one, God damn it, the club master one giving you great club proficiency is actually pretty cool.
Fun for a cleric who has club mastery.
Ooh.
You get to go up from a club to a great club. As a cleric, welcome to my holy bonk. I'm just saying.
There's like no,
go ahead. No, you first.
Like, I feel like all of these should just start with like, you become expert in this. Like, just double your proficiency. Like, it's not that big a deal.
Sometimes you just need a little expertise. BP, you've got my wolf icon because you're a subscriber to the channel. You were the very first. It's not opening its mouth and yelling now, which is weird though. But if you've been on the channel, if you've been a subscriber for more than 2 months, that's the way that YouTube considers like the next step up. The wolf icon will howl when you're in chat.
Oh, that's cool.
And when you leave comments, and I'm like, I did that. I made that happen. It's so cool.
I like that. So be like Burning Punch, folks. I'm a subscriber.
Join.
And then you too can howl with the rest of us.
Yeah. Ooh, you know, when you're a weapon specialist, you can specialize in the use of one specific weapon.
I saw that I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, you can add half your proficiency bonus? Oh, you add your proficiency bonus to the damage.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, like, I would rather just do that than most of the specific ones.
Yeah.
But you can also, you give one of your weapons one of the properties. So, like, if you were a variant human and you were in a class that didn't have, like, finesse, but, like, there was no weapon you could pick for finesse, but you wanted to build a dex build, you can give your stuff finesse now to use dex. That's pretty cool.
I kind of like the idea of... Oh, I think they tried to defeat me. I haven't even read the bottom part. I like the idea of giving something either the light property to overcome heavy. Because that essentially means you are removing the requirement for a second hand.
Yup.
And that means you can now potentially dual wield said item as a light weapon.
I was just thinking that.
As a cleric, a forge cleric, slap on my 2 great clubs as I walk around with 2 tree trunks in my back pocket and holy bonk the hell out of everything that runs in my way.
You're going to get there. It's not going to be 10 years. I guarantee it, BP. You're going to get there before that in 10 years. Guarantee.
I desperately want to take something that's not supposed to be thrown and make it thrown.
Like what, though?
Great sword.
That's what I need.
Throw your great sword.
Oh my goodness. Halberds?
No, something really stupid. Something like a mace.
Yeah.
You get it, and your party doesn't know. They haven't seen your sheet since you trained in this, what have you. And like, there's a blasphemer across the room talking shit about your god, and you just give them a death stare, and then you wing your club at them. I love this.
I don't think you can do that. It's like, oh, but I can.
They'd be like, wait a minute. Are you going to do improvised weapon damage? No.
No, we're just gonna wing this thing and hit somebody in the throat. Now I want to do it to a great club, but I
Oh,
also
hang
heard a
on.
ding.
We have yes.
Oh, Dungeon
Mom,
Mommy,
is that
are
you?
you here?
Hello?
Hello!
Oh.
I'm gonna boost your volume. Welcome,
Ladies and gentlemen.
welcome!
Hey there.
So this is our 5th DM for the show, who's technically been here the whole time, but hasn't had a chance to come join us yet. This is our Dungeon Mommy, or DM Ann, whichever you'd like to call her. I'm probably just going to say Mommy, so when I start talking about Mommy, I want you all to think of... Oh, it's not... It is! BJ Blazkowicz in Wolfenstein. The lowest difficulty setting in the original games was Mommy Please, and it would put a pacifier in his mouth, and then he would go
The binky
kill
on his head,
Nazis.
yeah.
It's amazing. So I'm just, Mommy. Welcome to the
Welcome.
show, Mommy.
I've decided I'm just gonna use any flavor of the word mommy
Yeah.
as I can. So I'm just gonna go with welcome, Madre. Glad to have
Oh.
you.
Thank you. Absolutely. I will accept whatever version you would like. When he was like, oh, what do you want to be called? And I was like, the only words that my player call me are or
Well.
I love it. You have come in as we're discussing the last part of these weapon-focused feats, but what stupid things can you come up with for adding properties onto a weapon that's not supposed to have them? Also, your
Let me
icon
think
is
about this. Give me a
sending.
minute to think about this. I'm still messing around with my settings and
That's
here.
okay.
But,
Listen, it took
let me-
3 sessions at least to get everything that's currently on to work.
That was a fun process.
Mm-hmm.
You were just coming up with stupid crap like I want to be able to throw a mace across a room.
I'm
Oh.
aiming to now wield 2 great clubs in both hands and bonk people over the head. Good old light. What would you do, Okami? Or you let DM kind of contemplate the universe.
When you said make them light, all I was thinking of was like those builds in Elden Ring where like somebody uses the 2 crag blades that are like the weapons that you use when you're into gravity magic, and they're so enormous. There's like 2 big rocks, and all they do is the jumping double slam just over and over again. That's all I can think of. But this could also work for the double tower shields build that Grimbo would like to make, even though you only get the benefits from 1 shield, and you can't really fight with your shields.
Okay, this is a question to you guys as DMs. Halflings are restricted to only light weapons with the light property, right?
I don't think so.
I think they might not be able to use heavy.
Yeah, maybe not, but I think that entirely depends on class. I don't think it really depends on just because you're like a little guy.
I always thought that you weren't allowed to use certain weapons with the heavy proficiency. I say that only because if you can change the heavy to light proficiency, and that was the only restriction on a halfling, technically you could finally have that halfling walking around with 2 tree trunks way larger than he or she is.
I mean, it's D&D. We don't care about physics. Who cares about, lever arms and...
Listen, nobody needs to... It's okay. Physics,
they
only come when we hit things.
I just thought of like the way you said that specifically tree trunks. I'm just imagining, like when you do the fish game where like you put your palms together and then you like slap the inside of someone's thighs.
Yeah.
I was thinking, because you specifically said tree trunks, I was thinking because halflings are small, he's like literally carrying a log and he's just hitting you on your inner thighs back and forth.
my god.
That
Your
adds a
brain goes
layer.
weird places.
Yeah, it does.
That added a layer to it that I was not prepared for. I
I was just
appreciate it, but I'm also
imagining
scared.
like a druidic halfling where they literally just have tree trunks as arms.
Oh.
And like they're kind of longer, so if they like feel like going crazy, they do like a crutches walk with their giant tree trunk arms.
Like gorilla carrying themselves
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is what I was imagining.
I don't know why my brain immediately slapped sequoias on Elijah Wood's arms and had him charging in Mordor.
Oh,
like
I
a
love
Lord of
it.
the Rings movie
I
in
love
my
it.
brain.
I love it.
But it is both horrifying and amazing. And now
I would watch that remake.
Oh, 100%.
Right? Like the final fight with God, why am I Smeagol?
Gollum.
Gollum, the final fight with Gollum, like in Mordor, like Frodo just gets tired of this. He just claps his arms together. They just become tree trunks. He just starts. That's the movie I need. Peter Jackson, I know you're not watching this, but I need that DVD cut.
Just in case.
Thanks. Just in case. Yeah. In case you pass.
I was picturing, before we got into Sequoia arms, I was picturing a halfling carrying around a tree trunk, and then they just put it down, and like they have a house in it, like it's hollowed out, and they live inside it.
Oh my god. And they just like have it as like a backpack.
Oh, I love that.
Amazing.
It's like their
Everything
own
in their
Leomund's
house.
tiny hut. Oh, that's so cute.
Oh my god, what if that was their
That's
Leomund's tiny hut?
perfect.
That's so cute.
And they can also bonk people with it.
I was
They're like
thinking, did they
the
give
Wicked
us
Witch
heavy?
of the West, and they just like put their house on top of people for damage.
Yes.
I was thinking they don't have you can't make something heavy, but I was like, what if you made a dagger? You gave a dagger the heavy property, and so when you stab someone with it, it's like when Mjolnir is laying on top of someone, they can't get up. It's like you stab someone down into the floor, and then they can't move.
Or well, also just imagine a dagger with the heavy property getting thrown at somebody.
Yeah.
It's like literally throwing a brick.
I can see why they didn't include heavy in here. That would be there's too many options to make things incredibly stupid if you could just give a weapon heavy property. Now I'm not saying okay, if you have like an artificer out there and your artificer messes with dunamancy or whatever and can make things really heavy, like make shit really heavy. Make everything funny, okay? Do it. And do it.
It's worth it.
Listen, that's where physics matters. That's where physics and gravity really matters. When you
I
make
do
that
have, I think that this specifically relates to DM Lacara, but the rest of you might also be. Somebody made an entire collection of all the gravity spells from Elden Ring and converted them to 5e. Eventually, we'll get there.
Wowie, wowie.
Can you send me the link for that, okay?
Yes.
I
also have
of making a new sub race, and I think we need that.
Ooh. And I can send you the one of the for those of you that have seen Bleach, it's kind of the same idea. I think it's Kibbles made like a bunch of subclasses that were based on gravity. Like I think someone gave him a writing prompt or something. It was like make homebrew about gravity, so he did. And one of the things is it's a feat where whenever you hit something, you lower someone's speed because you're making them heavier by 5. And I put that on my empowered because I was like, that would be so cool. I'm hitting people with my psychic vectors, and every time I punch them, they get slower because they feel like they're heavier. I'm just like filling them with dread.
That I like. That I really like as an idea. Trapping somebody at in their own weight, slapping like someone in heavy armor consistently making their armor heavier and heavier. I would do that.
Just existential dread weighing you down.
I I said bleach because Wabiske, Kira's, I think it's
Yeah.
his Shikai, it's not his Bankai. Every time he hits you with it, everything that you are wearing and your body doubles in weight. And so he just, like, his sword isn't shaped right, like it's not meant to cut. He just wants to keep banging on you.
Well, no, because that's not his real. Do you mean the one that's not his real Shikai, his fake one?
He's another one with a fake Shikai? I thought his Shikai is the one that is, like, it's shaped like a hook, except it's not like a hooked blade, which is a real weapon that people
I think
use.
he has another one that's his real one. I don't want to spoil stuff for people that haven't seen it, so. But I think so. I'll confirm.
We can ask JB.
Neither
JB would know.
He would.
We have one friend that loves Bleach, and everyone else is like, could you like something better?
Now, overall, when looking at weapon specializations, I will say this. It's cool to see some of them come back and are interesting flavors to the weapons, but some of them really fall off. Slingshot, net, not really doing it for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't let people use. Not even like I don't want it because it's imbalanced or what. It's too low, yes, like compared to what the other ones give you, but like I don't want you to waste your time going for this.
I could see it in a game in which downtime between sessions was real life downtime. There are systems that exist using in-game systems that use that style. So if, like, I think in your case, DM Economy, you're a once a month game. So if over the course of 30 days you roll a die at the end of all that to tell me how well you've trained with said person, you know, in the time period, like if every session had to end back in town or in some odd kind of thing, almost like a
West Marches.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, exactly like a West Marches. In between all that time, you're going to absolutely apply real day downtime. Yeah, if you want to waste your time to do it, sure. But I think the slingshot range is, like, some of the range increases are things I would just add naturally to the weapon without forcing anybody to take this anyway. Especially because I do think that the ranges of certain things are horrifying.
Yeah. I also think, like, what I said before also makes sense. Like, if your character from levels 1 to 10 has only used this one weapon, they literally haven't touched anything else in their arsenal, and the only magic items they employ are that weapon type, like, I would give them mastery. Like, you've done it. You've put in the work already. You're only using those things. I wouldn't necessarily make them do downtime. My players specifically also hate the idea of downtime is appalling to them at this point, which is really funny because they're the ones who brought it up.
Like, they don't have like shopping episodes or anything like that?
We have those, but we can't. They won't have their characters take a break. Oh, this is like before we started talking about it. So when I first started my campaign, Valley of Vegeria's character Nara, she was a pirate, and also her actual family is part of the Zentarum. So, like, bad guy all around, basically. And she was like, "Oh, we're on our pirate ship now, but this job I took is from my family, so I need to go back to my pirate family. And that means at such and such date, in game time, we're going to have to split up." And everyone had this long discussion. We were playing for like a year and a half at that point before that date in game hit. And everyone was like, "Okay, this is what we're going to do in our downtime as we break up, but our characters will agree to meet up at this time, and we'll all get back together. We'll have done our downtime activities and what have you." And when that date came up in game, Nara was just like, "You know what? I'm not going to go. I think we should all just stay here." And I was like, "Okay. I got a lot of red yarn to stick back together now. Thank you."
Oh my god.
That's a ball I would not want to untangle. That's oof.
In my defense, it means they've interrupted a lot of things bad guys were also going to do during that downtime. So lots of people are mad at them now. It's not just me.
I mean, but like, imagine being like, aha, I've done it. I've prepped for this exact thing, and they're gonna have a little time skip, and here we go. And then they're like, nope, what's on the docket for today?
Yeah.
Rip.
That I have to say, I do also feel for you on that one.
I'm just Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, always. If you ever want to think of me as a DM, that's me as a DM. Just the board with all that red yarn going everywhere.
I think me as a DM, because this is not how I am at all in real life, but I feel like me as a DM is like Jim from The Office.
Ooh.
It's just a lot of, okay, man, that was the wackiest shit, but you know what? I guess I'm gonna just real quick Jim the camera, and then we're gonna keep rolling.
Fair.
I saw a post on DM Academy the other day that was like, someone was like, I'm new to DMing, and I wanted to ask other people who have DM'd before, like, what do you think is the most, like, what important things should I learn to be ready to DM? And like 90% of the comments were, you're gonna have to improv, like you're gonna have to improv.
Yeah. I made a joke with one of my friend's boyfriends who's into acting, and I was just kind of like, I kind of made the Willem Dafoe, like, I'm a bit of an actor myself. He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I've been playing tabletop games for a long time. I've created more voices, faces, accents, and attitudes that sometimes I will accidentally have to double check if I'm making a new character. Like, have I used this before? Okay. Have I used this before around these people? Okay. Maybe I can pull back this one. Okami and I have a running joke of me running a drow with a Jamaican accent to appease Grimbo, because he believes drow have a Jamaican accent. And I'm like, I'll do it.
I think it's the funniest thing ever. And like, it's not even, there's another joke someone made that was like, all drow should sound like they're Australian because they're from a land down under. And I was like, you son of a bitch!
Shut up.
That person, that send Murmur to their house right now. Send Murmur right. That's when you need the button. That's exactly when we need the button.
When the first time that I heard that about the drow with Jamaican accents, the first thought I had was, how do you say lolth with a Jamaican accent? Like, I just could not make that compute.
You didn't know we all praise Lord.
Yeah.
We praise Lord out here. I'm sorry, Jamaican. I'm sorry to all of
God, that was amazing. That was
good.
A lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh my god, that needs to be a meme.
We praise Lord down here. That's all they do. They're Jamaican drows. They are. Put it in one D&D. All drow language Jamaican. Pop one.
My players are in a city full of drow right now, and I have been doing no Jamaican accents. And I might just start doing one next session so they can be like, what the fuck is going on? I'll be like, didn't you know all drow are Jamaican? I just learned this.
This is official lore.
I need to go stare. I'm gonna go look at the participants list. Please tell me he's in chat. Please. No.
Hey, Watsy, listen, if you're listening, because we know you're not just yet, but make it happen. we need that to be a part of lore too.
He'll watch this during the week and be like, you son of a bitch.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
But rather than start a new item, I'm going to say again, like I've been saying, for those of you that are in the chats, at the end of every session, I put up a 24-hour poll in the DMs chat, but there is one open slot for the community. That's you guys. So if you're watching now or you watch the VOD on either Twitch or YouTube within the next 24 hours, hit us up on social media, comment on the VOD on YouTube. I don't think you can comment on a Twitch VOD yet. But hit us up on social media. I got to get social media links for you, Mommy.
Hey yo.
I haven't gotten used to it yet. So
It's
the
still
next few
so good.
episodes, if I start breaking into laughter every time.
No, it's okay. I
love
like
it.
most of my players are women, and so like it's kind of weird hearing it come from a not gay man who's like my other player at my table. So like that also took me back for a second.
I'm pretty sure what you just said, DM Lacara must be dying on the inside.
I was gonna say, Okami, I think that's the first time I've heard you referred to off the bat the first time as a non-gay man.
Well, your voice is not nearly as like, you know, he is the full let's talk about that.
Oh, that might be that must be amazing.
Oh, he plays the sluttiest player. I gave them an incubus because like they are a bunch of sluts. And they have like tried to get information and stuff like that from sleeping with people. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna put this incubus there, and like I'm gonna have to lay it down real thick and all that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna get them so good. Like they met this player, this NPC, like 15 minutes later. Like my guy who we play with is like, yeah, I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna take my top off. And I'm like, oh, I didn't have to do anything.
Go ahead, Tommy.
I was gonna say we've never had anyone get naked. Well, they don't get naked in front of NPCs, but our ranger decided he wanted to go to a brothel, but like he doesn't bathe, he doesn't change his armor ever, and Valley Vajiria's character Nara, who comes from a rich family, was like, oh no, and she's a water genasi, so she just like gave him a bath standing up and was like, you're gonna wear these clothes, please take off what you're wearing.
I've only had one character I've played get locked in a brothel situation, but it's only because my party essentially became the heroes of this town, and as such the brothel asked us to be their sponsors. So we kind of had to go there and party. Like we would go slay a titan at sea and then come back, and they'd be like, so they cheer for us in the town, and we'd have to like cheer our way down to the brothel. And my character was a dragonborn monk, and he was the only dragonborn in existence in the world in the world that we were playing in. The dragonborn don't exist except for me. And in my head, playing this character going to a brothel for the very first time and being around not only women but scantily clad women, I was like, how do you react to that? I was like, how do I channel the youthfulest youth of a young man? Like, where do I didn't have that I didn't go through that. I feel like as a person where I was like, oh man, this is gonna be the craziest thing. It was fun.
I was thinking the other way around, like like your DM, because you're the only dragonborn there, I feel like everyone has to treat you like when someone of color is in Japan, and like old people will just walk over to you and touch you and shit. Be like, oh, you're different. What's this?
It happened.
What's this?
It happened. My character ended up, I guess, falling in love with the brothel madam, and I have a child, which was very interesting because I think I'm dead.
Okay. Hear me out.
I think. Go ahead.
How was the baby birthed
Figured.
like a mammal, or did she poop an egg? That's what I have to know.
I won't know because there's a 99. So that campaign, I'm in that with DM Bacon as well. And that campaign ended on the second to last chapter of the second to last page, which is essentially my character learned that he was the grandchild of the big bad of the whole campaign. So I kind of went around killing my whole family. And at the very end, after we kill my grandfather, my great-grandfather, who happens to be the world itself, woke up and then proceeded to wipe out existence. And the last session is us rolling to see if we successfully save the town, and that's how we become heroic, or we die trying to save people, and how many people we let die. That's literally the last.
That is a level of epic. Well, you were all you're the
we don't know what
demigod.
happened.
It wasn't
Me
like you were
and
all
DM
demigods. Oh, Bacon.
No, me and DM Bacon are both demigods. Even though technically we're also both half dragon.
Oh, is it like in the world of that time I got reincarnated as a slime? That is a follow noise. I know who that is.
It's me.
I know who that is. Woo! Hey, my alerts are working. Yes.
It's me.
But in the world of that time I got reincarnated as a slime, there's a race of like they're not half dragons, they're like quarter dragons, but they're called dragonutes. But they're very like lizard man-esque, but they all have wings and a tail and they can fly. And they go to fight these monks that worship this dragon that normally she always takes the form of like a little human girl, basically. And they're fighting these monks, and they're like, "Why are you so strong?" And the leader of the monk goes, "Well, we're the same race. We just don't have your wings and tails." And the actual dragon-looking people are like, "Huh?" He's like, "We're also dragonutes. We just, chose to look more human, so we fit in better."
Yeah, no, I was full-blown scaled. DM Bacon's character looked fully human, but that's only because we didn't know his dad was a dragon. That was another thing we found out.
Drama!
Yeah. His dad hated my grandpa because we're actually mortal enemies by blood. There was a lot happening in that campaign. If ever I had a campaign, I feel like that if we fully recorded every session, I would have happily recorded every session of that game to listen to. It got me through the pandemic.
I'm going to put this out there again. You guys can, every once in a while, someone does ask, like, "Hey, you're going to record your sessions?" The answer is still no. I don't want you to hate my players.
That's so real.
No.
But we will be recording for you folks.
That's
only
true.
if you're a patron and a member on YouTube, because, I have to slide that in there for the sake of murmur. Join on Patreon and become a member. We will be eventually recording extra content for only patrons and members. So remember, we're here to help Okami drink real soda. And only you can do that.
As I drink Sam's Cola.
Okay, we want to make. He's only drinking LaCroix. LaCroix. That's all he drinks, folks. If you don't like and subscribe, remember that.
Make me get super excited about more stream alerts. I'm glad my stream alerts are working though. Very, very happy. Most of the time they don't.
Ta-da! I'm so glad I could help in some way today.
You joined us, and now everyone knows who you are, so they'll be ready for you next video. Speaking of that, we technically are over our regular time, so before we start anything else, I just want to say, I've said this before, you guys can put in your vote for what you want to see next within 24 hours, and then we're going to throw up a poll right after this, and then we'll let you know. If you're watching on YouTube, you can generally cheat, because when I make the YouTube live setup, you'll know what the next episode is because you can see it in the notify me. Please remember to hit that notify me button so that when I ask people, hey, can you see what's going on? There's actually someone there to answer me.
Well, now. I am curious to see what's going to come up next week and next episode. I'm kind of backgrounds and feats was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
that's
I really thought that commoner background was going to be absolute trash, and
No.
instead I think it's like some of the best homebrew I've seen in a long time.
It's gold. We have to use it.
Yeah, no, I am excited for the Adventures of the Night Watch, and a bunch of commoners trying to figure out how they're going to protect their. It could be the simplest thing. I love the commoners.
I think we might as
Oh
well
my
just
God,
go
it
for
is.
rats in the cellar.
Rats in the cellar. It turns out it may not just be rats.
We can throw in. We end up going in the sewer, and we end up fighting that big worm thing, like we talked about. But we're babies, so like we have to avoid it, like we said. Boom!
Yep.
Tie all the episodes together.
Or we come up with a couple of really mundane things that, like with an extra hook, and at the beginning of the session we have to roll and find out which one it is.
Ooh, yes, that. Yes. But I just need to have our little companion friend from our episode on monsters.
Yes.
I need the little witness.
Yes, the Grey Witness.
I need the Grey Witness there. I need them to pop up and be like, "Whew, you sure killed that guy," and just walk away. And just be like, "What? No. Come back."
That's we were all chosen by the Grey Witness. That's our common. We were like walking down the street on our way home from our shitty menial jobs, and we just happened to see a Grey Witness, and it whispered something to us telepathically, and we were like, "What the fuck?" And then like as we pass by each other in the streets, we start talking about it amongst each other. That's how our group meets. Boom.
You don't need to meet in a tavern. Remember that, folks. You don't have to meet in a tavern. You can meet anywhere.
Everyone
Like
shows up
Euro
for the
3.
soccer game, and the Grey Witness is standing next to the ball.
Oh no!
She's like, "Hey, anybody?" Oh, but no one else but us can see it. So we're all like, "You guys see that tiny?" Like we're talking to other people, and like people are looking at us like we're crazy. It's like, you guys don't see that tiny little thing? Nobody. You see it? You
Creepy
see
gray guy.
it? Creepy little gray guy. It's like, but I will tell you right now, I'm going for the barber barbarian. I think I need that in my life. I need to be Lacara. You've given me the greatest idea for a character of all time in the barber barbarian.
You are welcome.
I need to create that.
I just had the greatest idea based on the. Okay, so there's a subclass that I've wanted to use forever and ever. I found it way back when, but it's like a hemomancer sorceress bloodline. So they use blood and they bloodbend and what have you. And I was just thinking like the commoner background, like I'm not special, no one's special, and I'm just like collecting corpse puppets because none of them are special. So like I'm not desecrating the dead or anything. I'm just using them as tools because they're there. Might as well.
I'm thinking of coming up with a cleric, but they thought they were signed up for a clerk job.
The I and C were too close together. It looked like a K.
Yep.
Oh, they show up ready to ring people out, and they're just like, "Why are you handing me all this holy iconery?" I thought that was where they thought they were going to be a clerk at the church, not a cleric of the church. Yes.
Yeah. Her only actual skill is shorthand.
Oh,
She just carries around a like
This is amazing.
herbalism kit.
oh my god.
I need that.
I love all
I
of
need
this.
that. This is what happens when you put people who have too much imagination together. We share that imagination and then cook up things in deeper imagination.
I also realized that like you guys who are watching the stream could see it too. Like I went and arranged all the bookmarks that were in my folder of stuff that I need to look at. And like there's not a lot of sections for backgrounds and feats, but that's just the bookmarks that I have. Like the amount of PDFs and other files that I've got, like terabytes worth. So I'm not worried about ever running out of content for any of the sections of this series, really. As long
No
as
joke.
friends are here to hang out and chat, like this series can still exist.
I asked Okami for a couple of maps when I was
Ooh.
starting DMing, and he was like, "Yeah, how many gigabytes do you want?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, he sent he and I think collectively have shared a couple of gigs of like random things, and he'll send me like the humble bundles for things, and it'll
Mhm.
be like, oh yeah, this has all the like I own all of the Pathfinder 2.5 edition stuff, so if you guys ever want it or any other kind of tabletop, I will happily drop them in our chat that you guys can pull it apart for your own games and even 5eify them a little bit. I've got a couple of notes on that, but like. I'll be like, okay, have you seen this? He'll be like, but have you seen this? It'll be like 36 bookmarks. And I'll be like, okay, I'll be back
Yeah.
next Tuesday when I have sorted through all this information.
Speaking of which, I have to go buy that humble bundle that you dropped in.
Yeah. I bought it I bought it during the stream. I did. I bought it in the middle of the stream. I was like, I was thinking about it and I was like, if by the middle of the stream I really feel like I can't not own this, I will get it. I got it.
Yeah.
You know what?
I
I
need
will
to build.
share that with the crowd too. So Pro Fantasy Features, they make a bunch of tools that let you build maps and dungeons and stuff, and like
So useful.
they update all the time. I'm constantly getting emails from Pro Fantasy like, oh, we put this in, we put this in. And being that I DM mostly in person, like I don't really use the tools that often, but they're great if you are DMing online. Like they're gonna help you.
Yeah, I like them and I like 2 Minute Tabletop.
Oh, 2 Minute
lot.
Tabletop is great. 2 Minute
They have
Tabletops, token generator, super helpful if you're just starting.
Yes. Yeah, tons of free maps and relatively inexpensive map packs, but I go between everything, and now I have this, so it's going to be fun to create maps for my games too, because I've tried some of the other dungeon tools online to build dungeons, and I have a shaky hand. So drawing things slowly with a mouse, not gonna work as well as I'd like it to.
Fair.
So I think this has a lot more easier generation features for me to kind of make stable looking corridors.
Oh no, these only work on Windows though.
Oh, I keep forgetting you have a Mac.
Uh,
I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
might be
so
able-
sad.
I think there's other ones out there though. Hold on, there's got to be something out there.
I'm sure. No, there's other stuff. I just created Capital City in our campaign last week on an online thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you
Oh,
guys
I'm
ever
in
get
that
your-
campaign.
Yeah, if you guys ever get the pet rock to put you guys down somewhere, you might get back there.
Dwayne the Rock? Yes, please.
Wait, did you really name him Dwayne?
Yes. Well,
He
his
was
name was
originally
originally
named Steve.
But then someone was
Okay,
like, wait, what about Dwayne the Rock? And I'm like, oh, people on the internet have done that for sure. There are tons of images of Dwayne the Rock Johnson, which I appreciate. Thank you, internet.
So you guys have a polymorph chicken man
Mm-hmm.
and Dwayne the Rock.
Okay, so the rock is kind of rented. He's definitely not coming with them on a
Okay.
permanent basis. They're just bribing him to take them on a ride by feeding it deer.
You guys bribed a rock.
Yeah. They rolled really high on their
To be fair, we also had an
Okay.
inn. A goddess told the rock to take us somewhere before. So this time we were like, can you help us again? You know us, right? What do you like to eat? We'll go find it.
Yeah.
I love
I'm too
doing
easy of
stuff.
a DM.
Welcome to my world.
Listen, I think sometimes I need to learn from you guys because I feel like I'm way too stiff of a DM on things because I want my players to think and not put me through existential dread.
I keep putting together fights and being like, okay, this is the one that's gonna take him out. Like, I finally made a fight tough enough. Nope.
Nah.
The last fight they didn't finish in one round. At least they didn't finish it in one
Sure,
round,
sure.
but it's
Did
still
your players finish their fights in one round?
one round. It keeps being just like really bad timing, like where they were supposed to get attacked by multiple things at once, but one of them triggered one of them too early, so they only fought
Mm.
one of them.
Mm.
And the party is
Oh.
7 PCs.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like really, really hard unless you're like swarming them with like 15 bad guys at once.
Well,
Like it's really hard.
I do that a lot actually in my campaigns. I go by the 3 goblin rule. For one player should be able to take out at least 3 goblins
Like it.
in my games. So if there's like 6 people and they walk to a goblin encampment, I'm like, yeah, there's about like 20 something odd goblins here. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If
Good
it
luck.
makes you feel any better, when my players, we started in Lost Mines of Phandelver, so when we got to Tresender Manor, when you go into the basement, you're supposed to find like the local leader of the gang, and
Mhm.
he's a wizard who like left the Lord's Alliance. Well, he technically didn't leave it. He works for them too, but he's a jerk. And we had, at the time, I was still running 8 PCs in the game, and they just so happened, like, they set off a whole bunch of alarms in Tresender Manor, and the guy was trying to escape. And so, like, I was plotting out his course for where he was going to go. And without them even knowing, they just happened to be standing right in front of the secret door that he comes out of when he popped out. And I was like, oh, come on, guys! And Clubs was in there at the time. He was still playing his character before he became a DMPC. And he's a paladin. And the minute the door opened, he just goes, kneel! With command. And I was like, damn it! Can't do anything!
God damn.
Listen, it's good to see your players do impressive things. I feel like that moment for Clubs, especially having been, I jokingly say the bane of his existence, but as having been his player now for what, like, God, what was it, 7 years now? I think I've been playing with him. When did we make the dog?
At least 6. I think we started
Yeah,
the first year I was there.
Yeah, we started in the dawn together, Okami. But like I've hit nat 20s in places that don't make sense. I shot down a rapier in Blue Alley that was supposed to be gotten by walking across this very dangerous dex check, and I was just like, nah, I want to shoot that. He's like, sure, go for it. You're not gonna hit it nat 20. And in all of the campaigns, in a lot of our campaigns since, there are moments where I'll be like, I want to do that really cool dumb thing, and he'll be like, please don't, please don't. And like all the other player, Jordan, who's been in the movie forever, he's always just like, dude, he's gonna hit it. He's like, it's gonna happen. Like, you're not gonna stop him from doing it. So
Our bard was so far has not done a single history check for a lore thing that he has not rolled a 19 or a 20 on. He was trying to figure out something about this very isolated group of people that keep to themselves, and I'm like, there is no way that you read anything that taught you about this. He's like, I'm gonna do a history check. I'm like, you're doing it at disadvantage, and the DC was 19. He rolled a 23.
Brother.
So, have you considered the fact that your bard might be Vati Vidya and knows everything? is the god of
knows
lore.
everything. Actually,
Sure.
our bard is like that too, because our bard's got the whatever, like the +10 on everything that she does already, and she at the beginning, like when we had first started playing, she was like, I want to roll to influence this other player. And I was like, you can't, if it's a player, like, if you tell them to do something they wouldn't do, they're still not going to do it.
Yeah.
And she was like, can I roll anyway? And I was like, listen, even if you roll a nat 20, like, you can't change, like, what that player thinks, what that player's going to do. That's not really how the game is intended to be played. And she was like, okay, but I'm still going to roll. And I was like, you can roll. And she did roll in that 20. And we were like, come on.
Yep.
No one's, but we're not accepting what you're telling them. They wouldn't accept it.
Listen, that nat 20. I will say, though, in the reverse, it's always fun. I had some of my buddies play D&D for the first time. And I explained to them the best way to play D&D is to put yourself in the shoes of your character. And so one of my friends thought it'd be funny to be like the stereotypical bard archetype, but with a cleric. And as they were leaving a bar, he yelled back, like, he was like, oh, you guys are a bunch of bitches. And I was like, roll a d20 to see how they react to that. Because I was just like, I wasn't fed up, but I was like, I need to show you what happens in this game so you understand. Don't do this again. And he rolled a nat 1. And I was like, everyone in the bar stands up, grabs their weapons, and starts chasing you. Roll initiative. And I had them get chased into the forest in return. So don't worry, folks. We can always get our players back.
There are consequences.
That is what my players sometimes don't understand. So I'm like, listen, there are consequences to your actions. If you commit a B&E and write on the wall in blood, we will find you, you're probably going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so you're not going in for the traditional murder hobo kind of thing.
Oh no, they are murder hobos, but with a taste of prostitution and a lot of
They like to
committing
diversify their
murder
crimes.
just because someone looked at them wrong, you know?
So they're hobos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're murder ho.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Love it.
I like that.
Love it.
I like
that was
that.
great.
I'm gonna have to recount some stories of them sometimes because man.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
We
need
can
some
have
stories that are just like
that's just us talking about our players and campaigns and stuff. I think
this year I started keeping a Google Doc and it's just quotes that they've said.
Yep, I've got one of those too.
Oh,
and
I need to start one then.
Let me tell you what. No, it is sometimes crazy. The stuff that they say, and I'm like, I look at them every once in a while, I'm like, are you gonna say that in character? Because if you do, like, you might get bitch slapped.
And they're like, that's fine.
Do you want to get stabbed? Because you'll get stabbed.
Yeah.
Clubs was playing one of my campaigns or trying one of my campaign ideas, and literally in the midst of him talking to the queen of this kingdom that he's not even from, he's like, can I have some grapes? And I'm like, huh? Like, me and the other player are just like, what? He's like, yeah, I don't really care about all this. Can I just have some grapes?
Oh.
And I was like, wait. That's what your character does? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, I gotta roll. He succeeded on the roll to pass the queen giving him grapes. He nat 20'd, and so the queen was just like, give him some grapes. And literally, I had to change my entire narrative because now the queen likes this guy. She's like, okay, he's bold. She didn't take offense to it. She took a liking to him with a nat 20. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do with this. You just interrupted a whole speech about the desert being dangerous for some grapes. 10 out of 10. I welcome it.
Fair. That's very, very fair.
But now I need to start a Google Doc of quotes because
It really, you sit there and you're like, oh, my players be saying some of the wildest shit. Like my very first one, just like a taste. My very first quote is daytime side boob.
I crossed my leg to think on this one.
Yeah, because my shopping episodes they have a group chat and they're like, we need an outfit for this event where we're going to seduce people but also probably murder someone. We have to go back to the clothing store and request an outfit, which isn't cheap. And they're like, yeah, we know. And then one of my players was like, I want side boob. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, no, but like a classy amount of side boob, like a daytime side boob.
A classy? Oh no.
That doesn't go together.
Of side. That I have never thought of those words.
Well, my
I have.
players have.
Our first quote is, I do not think he will grow as a man if he remains a chicken.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I'm trying to think of. I can't think of anything specifically they've said. They've definitely said some bangers, but like I can't think of anything specifically that they've said. I can only think of. It's not a quote. It's just our entire campaign. We've been playing for like 2.5 years at this point, and Jimbo's character Grimalkin, he is a Blood of Sparta tiefling, so he's supposed to be like Dante from Devil May Cry. And the way that he played his character up until this point was every girl that like he met in the campaign, he'd be like, is she hot though? Oh, I don't look at her then. And like if they're too hot, like he can't interact with them. And like 2.5 years into the campaign, he's talking to someone, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna hit this girl up because I'm ready to play this game as this guy who's a total womanizer, just like Dante. And I was like, you've been afraid of women for 2.5 years. I'm not gonna let you just change your whole character now.
No.
You need a character arc, my guy. Learn to be not afraid of the ladies.
Read some in-game smut, and then we'll talk.
He would love
caught
that.
in the wrong place.
Yeah.
He should go to the brothel with Jack TT.
Right now, Goblin Slayer can't get into the brothel because he has no money. He spent it all at the brothel, so he's too poor to get in.
And he doesn't think that's a reason to stop going. You know what?
No. Now he's every time any NPC talks to us, he goes, "Yo, you got a side job I could do? I need some cash like right now."
Brother.
But he also, I made him roll a performance the first time he went to the brothel. He has a specific, his character has a specific type in game. And so he found this one girl who worked there, and I made him roll performance, and he got a nat 20, so she's very enamored with him. So sometimes she like leaves the brothel to, well, she sends the whatchamacallit, the bouncers from the brothel to send him gifts and stuff.
Oh.
He's got a sugar mama?
He does.
Yeah, kinda.
Wow.
The bouncers hate him though. They know he smells normally. They hate him because he doesn't shower.
Remember Okami in our very first campaign together, how my plan to stop the big bad evil guy was to seduce the Queen of Hell?
That's true.
As a bard, I decided the only way to stop Hell was to do the classic bard thing and be like, hey, if we meet pretty much the daughter of Asmodeus, I'm gonna like talk her up and be like, hey, how are you? Like, we should date. And everyone in the party was like, that's never going to work. I still think it would have worked. I think you guys just need to let me try and chat up the queen about. I think it was a missed opportunity.
Our bard in our game currently, Crucio Kate, like I don't think she would ever have her character intentionally like try to seduce anybody. She's like the opposite. She's like a nega bard. She was in a loving relationship once, and people
Nega
murdered her paramour.
Oh no.
And like she just never gets over it. And I'm like, you're a nega bard. I like this. Good. I don't have to deal with that.
Damn. That's
Yeah,
So my
I don't
players
think-
are a bard, and I deal with it every day.
I don't think anybody in our party would be okay with my introducing that kind of element. Which is hysterical because I had an idea for it with one of the characters and an NPC, and it makes me cackle with evil glee every time I think of it. I just don't think it's gonna catch on. We'll see.
Tragic.
Yeah.
It just might, incidentally.
You never know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the scary thing about players is that sometimes they really throw you for such a loop that you're just like, I don't know how to respond to what you're asking. Or, in turn, I did not expect you to think that way. I absolutely once told my players, I did not think from the decisions you guys have made in this campaign that collectively you had the IQ to do this. Because I was that amazed by what they pulled off. They're like, oh yeah, we've been cooking it up for weeks. And I'm like,
Whoa.
My players, I do feel bad for them in this situation. But like they've spent real time, not even just in-game time. They've spent real time, like 20 hours, working on how to fortify the shitty little town they were in. And then they were like, actually, our best option is to make sure that no one actually gets to this shitty little town. We should go try to kill them over there before they make it here. And like, they drew diagrams and shit. I had to go look up how like, what is it? I had to go look up how quicklime works to see how much could be made in that town and like where you could place it. They have like landmines that they made, improvised explosives because they had a whole bunch of gunpowder that they stole. And I'm like, you guys did a lot of work. And it's funny because no one was coming here until you announced where you were. Now when you guys go back, they know where you came from.
yeah. But also that's impressive.
At least you know they have like the capacity for something like that.
It's true. They're fucking ready to have a siege. And one of them was calling it Goblin Slayer, who happens to currently be the only player that is down, even though Grimalkin is the one who wants to give up the game. But Goblin Slayer was like, y'all all better be there for Helm's Deep. I want to see what happens at Helm's Deep. And it became a thing. All of them were like, are you prepared for Helm's Deep on Saturday?
My.
And then they left.
Bye.
I too am going to have to leave.
That's true. We got everyone to stay on
Here.
longer than
Yeah.
usual, which is great. But does this mean you'll be joining us normal time starting now, Mommy?
Maybe if I get off of work in time. Unfortunately, my job goes until like around the time you start.
Okay.
But if I have someone like cancel an appointment, I get to get off earlier and then I can be here at an actual time. But today I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing after work, and then I went extra long. So I said, this is doing the opposite of what I intended to do.
But you made it. Now people know who you are. You too can be famous one day.
Oh my gosh! Me and Emily number 2, we actually recorded the first episode of a podcast that we're gonna do together.
What is the
So-
topic? Please
Oh.
share, plug.
We are we're talking about fictional people that we are in love with in real life. But it's only part 1 because we only did the real life people. Part 2 is only animated people. But we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. Like I have a history quiz for her because she is a historian. We're gonna talk about D&D a little bit. We're gonna talk about her dating sim she plays all the time. We're talking about things we hate. It's just gonna be like a little bit of everything.
I love it.
That sounds fun.
It is. We just like sat here and chatted like we normally do for 5 hours, but instead we just like did it for 1 hour and put microphones in our faces.
Fair. One of our coworkers, one of me and Shin's ex-coworkers the other day I was talking to, and he goes, "Yeah, so you guys have a podcast now?" And I was like, huh? I guess.
Like a little bit, but like not really, but a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorta, kinda.
This isn't
Maybe
what I
if you
thought it
think
was gonna
about
be,
it.
but I guess kind of. So welcome to our podcast. I mean, you've been
Oh,
here for 2.5
shucks.
hours, so
Wow. I made
oh,
it.
almost 3. We did go long tonight. Cool.
We did. We sure
Hell
did.
yeah.
We should just put together a whole list of like silly one-offs based on the stuff that we do here and do a podcast that's like real play, but just one-offs of each of those things.
I would 1000% be down.
Just based off of like one characteristic or like one monster or one background.
Yep.
Mhm,
And you
mhm.
just base the whole thing off of that.
Oh, you'll have to go back and listen to the first part of this stream
I will.
because we had some fun with the commoner back.
The
Oh,
counter
yeah.
background definitely in the repository. Remember, if you guys want access, you could join the Patreon or the YouTube channel.
And then
Patreon, so
Tommy.
Kage doesn't have to drink sludge.
We don't want him to drink slime ever again. If I ever hear that he had to do that again, I'm blaming you, chat. I'm blaming you.
Wait, who is drinking slime? Why would you do that?
Okay, so back when
okay.
I first tried ramen, me and one of my friends were like, "Yo, ramen is the best thing ever," and
Yeah.
we love drinking like the soup that's done, like when you've eaten all the noodles, and we would drink the soup. So we got this bright idea. We're gonna be like, "Yo, this soup is so good. Why don't we, after we're done, we'll just pour the rest into thermoses and drink it for the rest of the day." I don't know if you've ever had
Bro.
room temperature ramen water. Disgusting. Do not recommend.
But you did it!
Yep, done it, tried it, don't recommend. Much like the Netmaster and Slingmaster features.
I like the little tie in there. It's clever.
It's almost like
All right, I'm
comedy.
out.
You gotta just
Wow.
tie it in. All right, y'all. Thank you guys and gals for tuning in. Remember, if you submit in the chat or hit us up on social media, we will put in your community vote for next week's topic. But you have 24 hours from when this stream drops. We'll see you next week. Enjoy!